You say it take a village to raise a child, but what if the village is retarded?
Yo, yo, yo. Yeah, it's a rough day, man. Rough day for me. Um, I normally keep all of my problems, most of my problems to myself, man, but I feel compelled to, you know, once again kind of be vulnerable, just, kind of let, let people know that, listen to me, what's going on. I mean, basically, Uh, I'm pretty much, man. I like pets and shit, but I probably would say is more of a cat guy. And I've had cats since I've been a little boy, since I've been a toddler. My parents always had cats and shit. My grandma had cats. And I just, what I'm saying, I'm just kind of more of a cat guy. Not saying I don't like dogs. I do like dogs, but I primarily kind of like cats, man. One of the reasons is I don't like rodents. Cats are real good at getting rid of rodents. And I just can't help but be genuine. I don't care, hey, you call me a bitch ass nigga. You call me a pussy. I mean, I take it. But yeah, man, I like cats and shit, man. But um unfortunately for me, I'm pretty sure my cat died. I'm pretty sure my cat died. I think it like got sick or something, and it I don't know if it ran out the house. I don't know where the little guy is, but yeah, I think pretty sure he's gone. Um, I ain't cried nothing, but I mean, I never, really, to be honest. I mean, this hasn't happened to me. I've had cats that they ran away or something like that, but um I could open the door because the cat that I had was an outside. It was like a feral cat, so it was like half feral. So I could open the door and he wouldn't run outside because he knows what the outside world is like. A lot of cats that are coming from the outside into indoors, they know they know how good they have it, so they're not trying to run outside. They don't really they ain't really they kind of scared of the outside world a little bit. Like, they know the value of staying inside. They getting taken care of. They remember, the cold weather and trying to survive outside. They know what that world is. When you got a cat that's indoor, domesticated, they want to run out. If they get a taste of the outdoors, man, they want to come outside for the rest of their life. Like that's they want to, come outside. Um, but yeah, a outdoor cat, they want to they tend to want to stay inside. But it depends, man. Cats they got different personalities, all that type of shit. But yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I had them for about a couple years, man, and um, yeah, I mean, it's just, man, it's fucked up, man. I didn't realize, how much, that cat, man, kind of like was till that motherfucker's gone. Like, it's just like, man, man, that shit is crazy, man. How just different. Everything is just different. Like, damn, you know. I mean, I got kids, man. I mean, I'm not a cat dude or cat or the um I'm not a spinster cat dude or whatever, opposite to a cat lady. But damn, I mean, if I didn't have kids, I probably can call me that. But Um, yeah, man, it's rough, man. It's I ain't gonna lie, man. That shit rough than a motherfucker to lose a damn, an animal that you done took care of, you done had since it was a baby. Man, that shit rough, man. And I tried listening to other cats, man. I tried, I tried listening to, other people that was live streaming. I just couldn't do it, man. It was just like, I mean, the conversation just wasn't like, it just wasn't something I was feeling. Like, I just couldn't listen to this shit. I'm kind of like grieving a little bit. And I just couldn't listen to that shit, man. I have a video that you know, I'm gonna be going live probably either tomorrow or Monday, and I got something that I'm gonna be talking about as far as like different issues, like social. It's gonna be like social issues versus financial issues and how it relates, because basically it's a lot of issues that people have, and you'll be interesting to it'll be interesting to know how they relate, like how social issues relate to financial issues. So I put together some things, like I gotta finalize some things, and then I'm gonna have a pretty good informational live stream tomorrow, because the question, the reason why I'm going to be doing it, and why I came up with this idea to do this live stream that I'm going to do later, um, is that you have this cross where you have people that talk about relationships. They talk about a combination of relationship issues in relation to like social issues such as parenting, who do you choose, and all that type of stuff, and they kind of glance over different problems in the black community and other communities and stuff like that. But what I the consensus of what I hear, what I've been hearing over the years, is people really are tired of that shit. They tired of hearing about relationship talk. you know the video I did, as far as the video that I did or whatever, I don't really get that much views, but I don't really give a shit. It's I'm not here for views. You don't have to worry about me grifting. Um, I sell stuff. I mean, I'm a businessman. I have, startups that I'm kind of growing and trying to, keep afloat, but I don't have I don't have the ambitions to come over here to, like, try to, make as much money. You're not gonna hear me like, man, I'm gonna have to shut this down, man, because I ain't getting no cash ups. Like, you're not gonna hear me doing that, because um I do get support from my different funnels that I have. I do, get support in I don't, I don't really know who follows me and all of that stuff. A lot of times I will say, I've said this before, you're bigger than what you actually are, or what you think you are. Like, however small you think you are, you actually bigger, like, than that. Like, cause you don't know the value of yourself. A lot of times people, this is what people do, people undervalue you. Like, the average person just most people don't overvalue you. They undervalue you. So a lot of times what people do is they also undervalue themselves, because they just kind of look at how people value them, and they kind of think, oh well, I'm undervalued. No, it's not. And that's the problem with a lot of women in the world, like, or like a lot of women in the United States. A lot of women, yeah, like, okay, yeah, it's a lot of men, right? It's, men are plentiful, and men are expendable. I do agree with that. I do agree that men are expendable. Yet men are still very, very valuable. You're seeing that now every time, it gets cold, tire issues, car issues, men become value. The value of men go up during hard times like winter time. Oh my God. You know, I I clicked on Bumble just to just kind of like I was bored. I got a fucking like as soon as the first chick I swiped on, I was like, got a like, but I don't know. These chicks, man, nowadays they be so it's just weird, like just wishy-washy and shit. Just kind of strange, but you know, I don't take social media real, and I suggest you don't do that. Like, I don't if you don't get nothing from me for this live streams, like a gem for me is this: do not take this shit serious. Do not take social media serious. Don't take the dating, like the internet. Do not take it serious. That is the fucking trick. That's the, like, you know kind of like portal that you didn't really know exists. Like, this shit is really not real. Like, it's not a fucking 3D world or 6D or anything. It's not real life. It's the internet. It's the imagination realm. It's literally people that come on here and they pretend to be someone else. And that's what you can actually do. If you want to come on here and pretend to be someone else, you can actually do that with the internet. So you gotta understand, if you watching people pretend to be something else and you don't even know it, you know, should you take that serious? That's my question I have to ask to you. Like, should you take people that come on the internet and pretend and put on, like, they put on an act or whatever, like they're a Shakespearean actor, and you don't know, you don't see this person, you don't know where they live, you don't know what they day to day, life is looking like. You got people that absolutely do. You never even seen their face. So how the fuck do you know what they look like? They could have leprosy. You don't know anything about these people. You don't know what their actual day-to-day life. They could be like living in a shack somewhere with a pissy mattress with shit stains on it. And you're listening to this person. You know, I mean, I one of the things you gotta respect about me is if you know I don't care if you respect me or not, but I'm genuine. I hate being fake. I hate fake people. I hate fake bitches. I hate this whole plastic surgery shit. Like the whole fake titties and fake BBL movement. I absolutely hate this shit. I hate plastic ass bitches that's into this shit. I laugh at them. They look weird. And a lot of that shit is associated with rich women. I laugh at them. I look at them like they're weirdos. I know they got money, but I mean, you're still a weirdo. Like, you wasting your money on plastic surgery. Ha ha ha. Laughs on you because your face is gonna get fucked up over time. You fucking crazy fucking bitch. Your face will morph into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's what's gonna happen to you. And it's like, you go into religion, you go to, the Catholic Church and stuff. They talk about vanity, right? Vanity is a sin. Well, there you go. It makes, whether you believe it's a sin or not, it's an issue. Vanity is definitely an issue, right? And it fucks people up. They go get these surgeries and shit, and then next thing you know, something happened, they die. There's plenty of people that have passed away trying to get these surgeries, and you like, damn, you got the whole world, like, you rich, your husband rich, or your son is rich, or whatever, and you just trying to get, you trying to fit into this new world with all these fake ass people, and it's like, man, I don't look up to these people. They're fake. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Like, I don't look at celebrities like they're holy omnipotent beings. Like, you know, I don't look at people like that. Period. Like, I remember being around millionaire CEOs, and I don't chuck and jive and tap dance and shit like that. I just look at them like for who they are. Like, I mean, they're interesting. I mean, a lot of times, most of the time, they're college educated. But I don't give celebrities and all that type of shit. No, like, I don't like be like, oh my god. I mean, I try to take a photo. No cap. I'm not gonna. I took a photo when I was in San Diego when I was in the Navy. I got the pleasure, man, to meet basically Denzel Washington and Cuba Gooding Jr. I took a picture with Cuba Gooding Jr., but I don't know. I misplaced the photo, but anything that I wasn't like, man, Cuba, you were my favorite actor, man. I loved you in you know, shit, whatever that movie was with Tom Cruise or whatever, show me the money. I ain't act all weird. I was just like, man, this is a good actor that I watched plenty of movies. Even Denzel's like one of my favorite fucking actors, and I actually got to meet him. I just had to do I had to join the fucking US military in order to meet him, and he just so happened to be, doing a fucking film about, someone in the Navy, which was Antoine Fisher, and I was able to meet him. Now I had to go through a lot of fucking trouble to get that, have the same stars aligned and all of that shit. Because yeah, going in the fucking military, the Navy is tough. I mean, it wasn't easy. What's going on, bro? Yeah, man, this is, unfortunately, man, my cat, I'm pretty sure passed away. Um, yeah, I'm just kind of venting. I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of venting, and I ain't really want to hear nobody. Like, I don't know, man. It just got tired of hearing other people, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm I just I'm a I'm one of like I'm a rare like I'm in a rare class. Like, even Alonzo, like this, like, business world and shit like that. Like, not too many people is in this world. Like, not you gotta understand, it's not that many people that are investors. Like this this world, man, as far as like this, you think it's big, like, but this, the business world, it's a lot of people self-employed now because of the gig economy. But investment world and the business world, it's not. I'm not talking about people that just filed an LLC and they don't have an actual business, but or never even been in the business. I'm a bona fide small business. I had a retail store. I got, put my balls up and, you know took risks, and went out there, opened a store in one of the roughest parts of Chicago, right in the, midst of the gangster disciple territory. I mean, like, BDs and GDs was killing each other like, you know rats and roaches, and I'm trying to make money selling computers, man. Had my 380 on me, in my store, on my person. I mean, before it was concealed carry, like, cause it was like, fuck your laws. My life is more than your laws. That's how I looked at it. It's like, is the term. I I never forget it. And it was this dude that said it was amazing. He was one of my friends, my childhood friend's brother. He said, I'd rather be carried by a jury of my peers than, people carrying my coffin. And I never forgot that shit, you know. And it's like, man, you gotta think, man, you know, a lot of these laws, man, is really not, it's really based to for you to be vulnerable out here. You know, a politician has the ability to carry a gun in case you didn't know that. No matter what, he has automatic concealed carry. That's why the you know Supreme Court said you all these states with these laws and stuff, you got to allow people to be able to have a concealed carry weapon to protect themselves because that's against their rights to be to carry to defend themselves, to bear arms. And you got these laws where in Illinois was notorious for this, where you couldn't carry a gun even if you were had a FOID card. I mean, back then I did have one, but this was before concealed carry. So it's like, yeah, man. I mean, I'm a bona fide, like, it ain't too many people that I can talk to, that has done the things that I've done. And one of those is, yeah, business. I've been in the business world. I haven't been, I haven't, scaled it up to a big business or anything like that. I've yet to do that. There's still work to be done, but yeah, even on that small level, I mean, buying a house, man, buying a couple houses and actually trying to fix them up, man. It's a small world, man. There ain't too many people you can talk to, man. Even my uncle. I asked my uncle, have you ever done a gut rehab? My uncle's 70 years old. He ain't never done a gut rehab. He's never had to, he's never done that. You know, it's a small world. Yeah, rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Business is the real trenches. It is war. Business is war. That's why it's called work. War. It's got a war in it. These words mean something. That's I recommend anybody to get, if you want to if you want to kind of really understand words and kind of go into things, you don't even have to get a book now. You could just go online and look up entomology. Just go to entomology.com or .net or whatever, and you look up these words, man. It is crazy how they they relate to other things, because yeah, work is fucking war. You're literally going to war for whoever you work for. Whoever you work for that has a business, and then business is like the Borg. You can't avoid it. I mean, unless you want to be a bum and living in the woods or on the street or whatever, yeah, you can be um, just kind of, I don't know, just survive out in the woods or be a hermit. But if you're working, which most people either work or either either work for a business or have a business that they own. It's like it's unavoidable. The business is the Borg, is the true Borg. Resistance is futile. I mean, you cannot avoid business, man. You either work for a business or you own a business or you have some type of ownership in a business or interest or whatever the fuck the case is. You are in business, or you work for a business. And most people have the mindset of working for a business. They don't, they're programmed to do that. They're programmed to work for a business, trying to actually be a business owner. It's very, very difficult because first of all, if you're bootstrapping, which I don't know the percentage of people that bootstrap or get business loans or whatever. They got grants, they got business loans. um I've never gotten a grant, I've never gotten a business loan. Bootstrapping is very, very fucking difficult. And I'm gonna be honest, I cheated because I live with my mother, and then at one time kind of wasn't getting along. And then I had a girlfriend and I was living with her. I just said fuck it. I just got I had a futon in the back of my store already. I was living in the back of my store at one time. So that was like business hacking. It was like, you call house hacking, that was business hacking. That's I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be real with you. It's some immigrants, that's how they got down. All of this, they got a loan and shit like that. Nah. That's some urban legend shit. If you believe that, that's some shit that basically cats say. Black I just say it like it is. That's some shit niggas say. That's some shit niggas say to justify they bum ass, broke ass, not putting their motherfucking cojones up and getting together with other people and starting a business. That's some shit they say to justify, to make it so where, oh yeah, the immigrants got a loan, that's why they got a business. Nigga, you can go get a loan. It's called the SBA. SBA.gov, motherfucker. You can go get a loan and start a business. Last conversation I had with my other uncle that's actually like, he's like an IT director. He's a elite IT guy, man. I don't really know too many guys on that level like that. Like he's met, big time people, man. That I mean, I don't even want to speak of like who they are, because like they not liked in the whole world. Like, I mean, I mean, I'm talking, if you think of like whoever, the big top five, computer companies, he's met these people. He's been in computer magazines and all that shit since the 90s and shit. This motherfucker is like, um, he's the closest person that I know blood wise that's like Iron Man. Um, and he said, because he tried to go into business, and it was hard as hell for him because he had kids, he was married, and all of that at the time. He said, if I had to do it all over again, I would have just got a business loan. Just go get you a business loan, and you have enough for your staff, you have enough to, kind of make ends meet and stretch it out, and you do that instead of like bootstrapping everything and all of that. You can get a loan. And mostly everyone can get a fucking loan. It's just you gotta, you have to have the requirements and stuff like that. But the whole excuse is, what's going on, man? What's going on, T Riller? The whole excuse is, the reason why they say all these Arabs or these Indians got a loan, it's some scapegoat shit to get out of the conversation. The real conversation is why you ain't got a business. You know, all because they got a loan. Bullshit. Bullshit. Because the thing is that even if they got a loan, that means you gotta try harder, motherfucker. You gotta bootstrap. I bootstrap with about $1,500. It's not that fucking. I'm be honest with you. To start a business, really, to be honest, the key is you gotta grow your customer base first. Once you have a customer base, that's like a lifeline. Those are your supporters. That's the key to business, having a customer base or client base. It takes years to kind of build that up. So when I had my store, I had my clients or customers come to support me. That was what was helpful. Then you got e-commerce, which, you know, I used that because it was times where it was like I wasn't getting no business. But then eBay was booming. I was just I would literally just be shipping shit out every day. My job was like, I gotta ship all this stuff out because I was making so much money selling on eBay. And I didn't even have an eBay account. Real talk. Like I was using my uncle's account. One of my uncles that, he passed away, but he used to let me use his eBay account, and then I give him a little money or whatever. He go get whatever he get or whatever. Um, yeah, I was doing that, man, and for a while, and I've had some good days. I've had, the best day, the most money I've ever made in my life was from my business. I remember during tax season, I was selling laptops like magazines. I made about over $1,000. I don't remember exactly, but it was like in one day I made over $1,000. I never would make that at no job. $1,000 day at my job. It's no job I've ever had in my life that I made over $1,000 in one day. Now I'm sure it is some jobs out there that pays that, but I ain't never had one. The most money from a job that I probably made was when I worked for Microsoft. I was making like 350 or 360 a day or some shit like that. Um and that was my peak. But uh yeah, like business in the fucking hood, surrounded by GDs, BDs, and Blackstones in like the hood, gunshots, apartment buildings, you know, poverty, mixed poverty, a mix of poverty, middle class, little sprinkle of upper class. Um, I made over $1,000 in one day. So yeah, man, that's business, man. But it was days I ain't make nothing. It was days I ain't made nothing. So it's a mixed bag, but the most money I've ever made in one day was from my business. He said most people start as a sole prop. That's why 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. Yeah, I don't really know that much about that, man. My business lasted a little under 3 years. And it wasn't necessarily my business, it was me, you know. The your first enemy is you. Like your hindrance of whatever problem or whatever goal you're trying to accomplish is actually you. It's not externally. Like externally, yeah, it's some issues. Yeah, he's some competition, some human competition, whatever you want to call it, racism, discrimination, whatever. Yeah, those are external, yeah, issues, right? But even now, before you even get to that, you yourself, are your barrier, your biggest barrier to overcome. Whatever you can't think in your mind, or whatever you you you're having a hard time comprehending or getting done. You know, you're kind of barrier of entry. A lot of times you yourself are in the way. A lot of times, but um, the thing is that, I mean, like I say, I don't. It's not that many people I can actually talk to. You got people on here, online and shit, even on YouTube, that if you even, because they just, kind of like don't want to be out upstage, I believe. If you mention to them, like, I have a business or I have this, they'll either downplay it, or they'll say they had a business just like you. And I'm like, no, you haven't, motherfucker. It's a difference with working 1099 versus fucking having a business where you're fucking filing Schedule C, or you don't have any person is paying you. You have to go out and talk to people, market, go door to door, cold call, I all kind of shit, man. I had a deal where only black radio station in Chicago, WVON, I worked for them for like a few months. The deal was I do some IT work, they give me some radio ads. Those radio ads made me thousands of dollars being on the radio. I got people to come to my store, phone calls, service calls, because I was doing service calls. How I beat, because I like one of my main competitors was Best Buy and Geek Squad and the Koreans or the Chinese. I don't really know if there's Korean or Chinese, but definitely in that particular area. But basically, I knew the Koreans didn't do service calls. I knew they didn't do that. They Korean. What the fuck they gonna go to, like, I'm talking the south side of Chicago. Mostly black, about 80%, 90% black area, you know, not south, like white people mainly on the southwest side of Chicago, southwest side of Chicago. So basically, they weren't doing service calls. So I knew I could beat them because they weren't doing service calls. I mean, not beat them, but make some money. I knew I could have a competitive edge to make money by doing what they themselves were not doing. They were not doing service calls. I'm in O Block, my 380 on me doing a service call. They not doing that. I mean, I never I never joined a gang, but I always been gangster. I always had a gangster mentality. Like I just, most of the people I grew up around were in gangs. So I mean, I guess, as far as law enforcement terms, I would be what would be called gang affiliated. I mean, to be honest, I would be honest with you, just about everybody in Chicago, probably the same thing in New York too, but in Chicago and even in the suburbs, even in the upper middle class, fuck it, even in the upper class suburbs, mostly all black people have some gang affiliation. Either someone is in their family that's in a gang. As soon as they go to any of their family members that live in the Chicagoland area, boom, there you go. Because that's how small the separation of like black society is. It is almost zero separation from the lower class to the higher class. I mean, as far as in the black community, almost no separation. Like you would have to be like to have separation from that type of world. It's literally almost impossible because even if you try to separate it, I mean, this is just how Chicago is. I don't know how it is anywhere else. But as far as to have separation from it, you would have to like literally have your kids go to some type of private school where it'd just even be hard because even in the Chicagoland area, like the private schools, the people that you go into private school with, they're associated or even themselves are in a gang in private school. I mean, that's how much it's a no separation. I mean, like it is like unbelievable, like how there's no separation whatsoever. Like it is almost impossible to have a separation of people that are in street gangs in Chicago. That's why I mean, like it's literally impossible. Like impossible. Like it is so entrenched in Chicago that either, like, I don't care if you like I say, you're a multi-millionaire, you make upper six figures and you live in a upper class enclave or whatever, upper middle class enclave. Now you're gonna have a different lifestyle than everybody else. Even myself. I mean, when my parents, we moved to the suburbs and then we moved to a kind of more peaceful suburb because I was living in Harvey. It was, kind of rough even in the, late 80s or mid 80s. It was rough. But we moved to Dalton, it was not rough. It wasn't rough as much as Harvey was. And currently Harvey is even rougher now. Shit, I mean, you know, I've had a conversation with an older dude. He was like, they should just extend Chicago out to Dalton and Riverdale. I mean, they actually did. Riverdale is actually part of Chicago too, some parts of it. But like he was saying, they should just call it Chicago South. The suburbs is so hood, so ghetto now that there's little spots and stuff where it's kind of ghetto. They just extend it out to Chicago, like that's how. But yeah, I mean, you you have like high schools and neighborhoods like Homewood, Flossmoor, that was like kind of part of my high school like district or whatever, or conference or whatever. I mean, it's an upper middle class neighborhood, but I'm pretty sure I ain't never went to high school there, but like the people that went there, I'm pretty sure it was gang members in that high school. Even being an upper middle class area, across the street of the high school, it's a country club. It's a golf course. It's nothing like that in my hometown. My hometown, we had a garbage dump on the side of the fucking expressway, and then it was steel mills. Like, I never forget, like, yeah, it was like a steel mill down the street from where I live. Like, you can hear like banging and clanking every now and again. And then sometimes if the wind blew too rough, you will smell the fucking garbage. I mean, that's fucked up, man. But the thing is that it was not that much difference as far as like I said, the black people that lived in Homewood or Flossmoor and went to that high school, they still was surrounded by gangs. I mean, it was it was like, okay, you surrounded by gangs, but yeah, you live in a nice house, and maybe your father drives a Audi or a Mercedes or BMW or Jaguar, but you still gotta go through GDs and Latin Kings and Vice Lords and Blackstones and BDs. You still and Four Corner Hustlers. You still gotta go through that gauntlet. Even you having all of this privilege. Uh, I mean, it's no separation. It's almost zero separation. I mean, white people, they have the ability, but I mean, you got gangs. The humans are, a lot of people don't agree with it. The whole ape theory thing. Humans are very similar to apes because that's what apes do. Apes form mobs. They form gangs, and they go attack other monkeys, and they go on hunting raids and hunting parties. I mean, that's just animal nature. That's human nature, that to join cliques and have. I mean, basically, your friends are your like posse, right? Those are the people that you hang out with. Something happens to y'all, is some other people come at y'all. If y'all tight, y'all gonna have to fight. Then there you go. There's a gang right there. There you go, right there. All y'all got to do is just go get some emblems and put them on y'all fucking clothes. And then there you go. That's how it's literally human nature, man. To join cliques and all that shit, like it's animal nature. I mean, men have a nature to form up and form super groups to survive. That's the main key, is to survive, to better thrive and survive. And I've said this before. Some of the best way to get women is through your friends. I mean, literally, y'all literally go out and then look for women, and then boom, he's gonna attract some women. He's gonna you gonna attract some women, and y'all are like the whole like Biggie Smalls. hey, you get with your friends, I call my friends, and we can all be friends. Like that's some real shit. Like, I mean, that's exactly how that goes. Like, you trying to do it on some James Bond shit. I call it James Bond. I've got plenty of women being on some James Bond solo dolo shit. Now, don't get me wrong. You can meet your wife, solo dolo. But when you normally, like, as far as trying, like, if one of the reasons you probably striking out because the James Bond method ain't working. You gotta call your homie from high school, like, man, we gotta go out. I don't care if he married, like, you gotta go out, man. I mean, nah, you for real, like, that's how you meet women, man. I met so many women, man, from my homies, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I probably met more women solo dolo, but shit, know, it's like the dude from New York or whatever, Bobby Schmurder. Bring a thought. Like, I mean, that bring a thought thing, man. Shit, I don't know, man. Homies done brung thoughts. They ain't set me up either. I mean, like, that shit real. Like, you know, and it's not even just that. It's like y'all just go out, meet people, meet women, boom, you know. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just like that, like, just next thing you know, I mean, you meeting another friend is meeting another friend, and then, man, totally different, scenario than if you were just by yourself. It's like, man, it's just, I mean, that's kind of nature, that's nature as well, um it's kind of how, you got your pack mate or whatever, your because, like, lions have a lot of lion prides. It's not just one lion. Like, sometimes it is, but it's quite often it's a group of lions. It's the lions is usually maybe the lion's brother, the lion's cousins, or some lions that they met during the time where they were becoming a young lion to an older lion, because lions form, like, they form groups, and then they go take over a pride, um that's kind of how that is, man. Gotta have your companion, man, your wing man, to go, find some new prides to take over. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Gotta motherfucking get that shit going, man. Good. But I mean, you can, solo dolo works too, man. Solo dolo works though. But I mean, like I say, man, I don't I'm what I'm doing in life, my approach and things that I'm trying to do, and even, trying to get back into it, whatever. It's very few people to talk to, man. It's very, you know, it's not that many people to talk to, man. It's just not. Most people are workers. You know, you know what I'm saying. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I don't really, I mean, Cardi B didn't write that song. Okay, I'm pretty sure Cardi B didn't write it, but that's that song, Bodak Yellow. That shit hits hard. I'm a boss, you a worker. Like, that shit hard, man. That video was hard. Um, that was like the pinnacle of her probably life right there, was Bodak Yellow. You know what I'm saying? They put that shit together. They made that shit perfect. Like, but you know what I'm saying? Um, that shit real though. I got in an argument over that fucking song because, yeah, you probably would, if you're a businessman, you probably want to marry a businesswoman. You don't want to marry a worker, or a person with a work mindset that's, not really business focused, like, some people scared of business. You know, it's like he said, like Alonzo said earlier. You know, business is for it's the trenches. You know what I'm saying? You know, people scared of them trenches. Now, you know, don't get me wrong, man. People scared of them trenches. You know, they scared to, you know, put themselves out there because it's rough, man. Them trenches is rough. Man, I was watching, you know, because when it gets cold, you know, they do different strategies in war when it gets cold. The Russians, you know, they trying to, you know, the Russians are known for winter warfare. You know, when you think of winter warfare, you think of the Russians. And you know, if you're a history buff like myself, you know about the Russians in winter. You know, you know, if you really smart, you know, on some high level shit, you know about Napoleon in the fucking Russian winters. Um, they I saw some brutal shit. You know, as far as the war in Ukraine and Russia, man, because they be trying to do stuff. They try to intensify things because it's cold. You know, you want to try to, you know, it's like, man, I'm gonna be honest, like it's some things that people are dealing with and doing that is just it's like hell on earth. You know, if you ever thought of hell on earth, you know, you just gotta understand that it's some people that actually they you can't argue them that they are experiencing hell on earth. You know, being, you know, just imagine you in the front lines in Ukraine, you know, fighting the Russians, you know, even the Russians fighting the Ukrainians. You know, you sent there to die. You was in prison. You know, it was either being in a Russian prison or fighting the Ukrainians. You know, you got no other choice. You either stay and rot in jail or prison or fight these Ukrainians. You dealing with all of this stuff that you got to deal with. I'm not even gonna go into it because, you know, it's not something you know, I'm not really you know, I'm already going through some shit. I lost my my comrade. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, man. I'm not getting on another pet, man. I'm just gonna deal with, you know, whatever I gotta deal with. Not I get this house fixed up, and man, I probably, I don't know, I might get me another dog, man, because I ain't doing too well with cats, man. I don't know. It seemed like I just can't keep a cat, man, to fucking save my life. Like it just motherfuckers be running away. Just be I feel like, damn, man. I've thought about, I'm like, man, I'm kind of bad with cats. You know, I ain't never had a cat, you know, and just had him for the rest of his life. Like cats are supposed to live like, you know, they could live as old as 20 years, you know, mostly like 7 to 10 years, and they die. I mean, I don't know, but needs to say, man, it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's like, you know, one of the things I said earlier, as far as social issues versus you know, relationship issues and other issues like financial issues versus social issues, something I'm going to be talking about the next few days or so. uh yeah, I mean, it's the, you know, the business world though is why um black people don't really have that much money, and not have these higher enclaves of upper class that you see other people have. Like, you know, to just kind of give a preview, it's some things that I made aware of by the research that I was doing on this, you know, live stream that I got coming up and coming about social issues versus financial issues. The thing that I learned, or yeah, learned was, you know, I already knew black people didn't really have that much as far as upper class. You know, it's very low. It's only 7%. Only 7% of black people are upper class. All of this talk about generational wealth and Even Alonzo did the live stream, and he or either came on my live stream, or I think he came on mine. He was talking about uh the amount of black people that own mutual funds. All of this talk about generational wealth and people talking about they got money or they all right. It's only 1% of people have mutual funds. A fucking mutual fund, which is not a bad financial instrument to have to, hedge money or have some money, in some type of stream of income. It's like a stream of income, right? You can make money off of the mutual fund, right? Over time. Now, only 1% of black people have mutual funds. It used to be zero back in, like, I think the 80s or 90s or something like that. And it's never risen. It's stayed 1% from decades and decades and decades. And what is going on is people are lying to people. People are pretending to be something and they're not. They just saying words to come off like, they know something, or they gonna get something or whatever. And it's like, nah, it's just talk. So, I'm not saying that people are not gonna give their children something. I think it will be some people that are going to leave some inheritance, something, something significant, maybe, possibly. But really, to be honest, it's not that many people that's going to actually, according to the stats that there are, that's going to really leave any super generational wealth that, the upper class would have, because it's only 7%. It's only black people only make up 7% of the upper class. Which is not surprising. I thought it was even less. I thought it was only like 1%. But, one of the surprising statistics of that is that Asians and others make up about 50% of the upper class. White people only make up really 28% of the upper class. What's going on, Iori? Yep. Speaking of speaking of the devil, quote unquote. I'm not saying you the devil, but I mean, Iori. I'm just saying, like, as far as the upper class, yeah, Iori and them as in the upper class. Others and Asians. Basically, the others is like, basically everything is not represented in, as far as white and black, Hispanic, and Asian is considered other. Like a Persian would be a other, Arabian would be a other. If you're Turkish, you will be a other. It's all everybody else. Yeah, it's like they make up 50% of the upper class between the Asians, which is like 28%. Then others is like 30%. And yeah, you already know the Arabians is killing it, because the gas stations, a lot of businesses, they have, and then they in the corporate world, they all over the place, so you already know, they're definitely upper class. You already know that, because you got your, person that you go get your blunts from. You and your homies get your blunts from. Everybody getting blunts from, getting blunts and gas. It's zoom zoom. We call them in the hood. They call them zoom zooms and wham whams. You getting your zoom zooms and whams, your snacks. So he's rich. He ain't saving all that $2, from them bags of chips and side of blunts or whatever, or wraps. He ain't collecting, all of that money and gas and everything for nothing. He's making money. Even a corner store, they make money off of those goods, not as much as a gas station, but it's like having the everything the gas station would have with no gas. You know, it's a good business to get in. I mean, my basically my grandfather, that's what he had. After he sold all of his, he had a pharmacy, but he had one of the things he had left over, because I think he sold the pharmacy or whatever, it just closed it. But he had a liquor store, which was like a convenience store. And it's kind of like a extended grocery store too, because he had basically he did have like fruit, and he ain't had like no cold cuts and nothing. But I think he did. I think he had it like in a like where the fruit was or something. I fairly remember, but yeah, he had like a convenience store slash kind of somewhat grocery store, you know. So you can get groceries, a little bit of groceries, like convenient stuff, and you can get, some liquor and some smokes and play the lottery, you know. And he made pretty good money off of that. Um he didn't have no gas station. So like, yeah, if you got the gas, it brings people in, make a little bit of money off the gas. And then they mainly, but to be honest, they mainly make money off of the actual store. They don't make that much money off of the gas. They make money off of what's inside the store. The gas kind of brings people in, but they don't really make that much money off of the gas. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that one of the reasons why I said all of what I just said was, black people don't have that many businesses. They're business averse. And black people also have a problem supporting each other. You see, I get onto this soapbox. I always go back to the soapbox, because the whole thing with the immigrants are getting loans. Well, why don't you go get a loan, motherfucker? Like, that's what Alan Roger Curry used to say. When he got mad, he used to get mad and say it though. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, why don't you go get it, motherfucker? You take the mother out of it, you take the other out of it, you just say motherfucker. Why don't you go do that, motherfucker? Why don't you go get a loan? What's stopping you? Oh, they getting the immigrants getting a loan. I don't know how many times. I don't know how many times I heard that from the time I was a teenager till now. The immigrants, man, the Arabs, they get loans. Why don't you get a loan, motherfucker? I said the other though. I was supposed to say motherfucker. Why don't you get a loan, motherfucker? Why don't you do the same thing they doing, motherfucker? Why? Why? What? And I never really, next time I hear somebody say that, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm probably not gonna say motherfucker, but I'm gonna just say, why don't you get along? Why don't you do the same thing you say they do? And then they all of a sudden niggas is conspiracy theorists. The government gave them a loan. Well, why don't you go on SBA.gov and get a loan, motherfucker? That's the government. And then I think that's an urban legend that all of these immigrants get loans. I definitely think that's an urban legend. Um, you got people that are actually really religious. They don't even believe in loans because they don't believe in interest. I think that a lot of people probably do get loans, but I don't think it's no difference than you going to SBA trying to get a loan, or trying to get a loan from whatever source. I don't think it's like no USDA. You soon as you come in the cut, like they talk about it like immigrants come from the fucking far and wide across the desert. And then they fly in, And then as soon as they get off the airport, they go to a US government office and sign loan documents. That's the way niggas talk. That's what I've been hearing for like 20, 30 years. You know how, oh, they got a loan. I see old people say that. That's a old urban legend. I see older niggas saying that to younger. Like it's cats on YouTube. They got loans. It's like, man, you could get a loan, motherfucker. Like in COVID, they was giving out loans. You had to have the actual business though. See, that's what fuck niggas up. You see how it comes back to the fucking bite? You know what I'm saying? You see how this shit comes back and bite niggas in the ass. If you had a business, if you actually started a business, you got who was that? You got homeboy, I forgot his name, but you got scholars talking, Dr. Claude Anderson talking about you need to start a business to support yourself and your family. And it's like you weren't listening. You was listening, but you wasn't listening, motherfucker. The reason why you got that PPP and you gotta go to prison, because PPP stands preparing people for prison. The reason why you got to prepare for prison is you didn't actually physically start a business and take it serious. So you tried to cosplay a business, and now you gotta pay. You gotta pay the federal government not only they money. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go to prison. You getting restitution and prison. Because you wanted to get a business loan during COVID and write all of the boxes. You wanted to have it where you fucking you get some money, and the government ain't gonna do shit. It's probably people was like, the government ain't gonna do nothing. They just gonna give me a fine. They gonna fine me. I just have to pay it back. Meanwhile, while cell block 8 is closing, meanwhile, at federal prison, meanwhile, orange is the new black. And it's like, man, I can't help. I'm laughing. That's like a moo ha ha laugh, because basically, like, you was told to actually compete and actually start a business. The black community is fucked up. I'm not the only one that knows why the black community is fucked up. It's fucked up because it doesn't have what it needs. And it doesn't have jobs because they're where do jobs come from? First 10 minutes of this live stream, from businesses. Businesses hire people. you know is there if there is a thing called, yeah, I do, like I said before, there is a thing called discrimination. Yes. You know how to beat discrimination? Let me tell you how to let a tether tell you how to beat discrimination. It's called open a fucking business and then hire your own people. And then you don't have to worry about discrimination. It's when the next barbecue. you know when black people have different cultures, different type of stuff they do. A lot of black people, when they have businesses, they have stuff like softball events, bowling night. They do they have parties and stuff too. But black people do business a little bit different. It does might be kind of soul planish, but at least you got one. I mean, if you got businesses, you got people, you know, that you can make money off of and give them a job. Well, people people getting discriminated primarily is because they got to go to people that discriminate them for jobs, because They don't have businesses to go to work for that look like the person that they are, or have the same cultural background that they are. This leads to all kinds of problems. And it's not just working or getting a job. It leads to the fact that black people are not competitive in business is, I'm gonna kind of go into it when I go into it about, social issues versus financial issues. Well, black people not being competitive in business leads to all of these problems, all of these social problems. Literally, I literally seen it from my own grandfather, that is, quote unquote African American from Mississippi. You know, never even probably stepped 1 foot in Africa. I mean, as far as I know, you know, uh, he was in the business. He was educated. I mean, he gave his children a whole different lifestyle than what he did, how he lived, as far as growing up in a shack with no running water, no electricity, an outhouse. His daughter lives shit upper middle class. Pretty much his whole, I'll be honest with you, my grandfather's side of the family, I give it to them, man. Mostly all of them is like upper middle class at best, like at the least, as far as I know. The middle class, upper middle class, mostly educated, some highly educated, like doctors and stuff. It's like, yeah, I mean, you could see it. You could see how, the bridge of, poverty versus, you know, upper class, it's like, education is important. Actually, having a, good job and work ethic, business, you know, you see that. Then you see this poverty side. It's like, yeah, a bunch of jobs, a bunch of, a bunch of niggas working, man. It's like, man, which one, and it's like, I hate to be, I know I hurt people's feelings. I hurt a lot of people's feelings a lot of times because, I think that they don't want to deal with the reality. They want to escape the reality. But yeah, I mean, you know, again, like most of the problems in the black community, I mean, a lot of them is because of, it is the combination. I believe is definitely not having enough businesses and not supporting each other. I mean, because I mean, I just, like I say, the Asians and others pretty much make up most of the upper class. They even beat out white people. Asians are so good at business. They beat out white people. Like, that's how good they are at business. And I mean, yeah, they might be able to deal with white people better. You got to understand, like, them being Asian, yeah, they get discriminated against. White people discriminate or make fun of them and all of that, but white people still kind of give them grace. They fit in with white people. They, you know are, it's like it's some type of, if you want to call it, tethering, like, to white people, where they that does play a role in that. So I mean, whereas black people don't have that same tethering. Like, we don't get, that type of privilege. Very few of us do. It is black people that kind of do have, like if you probably open up, I ain't gonna lie, like if you open up a barbecue shop or a barbecue restaurant, like on the fringes of, like, where white people live, and maybe black people not that far away, like, yeah, you could get supported. White people support your business. It's certain businesses, they might support, but I mean, it's like, yeah, you not gonna just make Africa Town near white people. White people will not support your business. They might set it ablaze. I don't know. But they ain't gonna support your business. That's a, it's like, they don't do, everybody else, like, they don't do the same. They don't have the same like code of ethics. Basically, they don't have the same code. Black people have, if black people, the way they interact on a day-to-day basis, the way they spend their money and stuff, if it was a code, knowing what I know about coding, what kind of code would it be? It'll probably be a bug at the very best, because it's not an operable code. Obviously the code is fucked up, right? you um it's, the code is fucked up, so it's a bunch of fucking viruses and bugs. Black people's code is viruses and bugs, Trojans, bunch of Trojan rappers. It's a bunch of motherfucking you know, a bunch of fucking Trojans, worms, viruses. I mean, that's our code. Yes, we, fucked up, man.
He said take a village to raise a child. But what if the village is retarded?
I mean, it is, I will say it is, we are under intense pressure and stress on a day-to-day basis to survive. Don't get me wrong, that does that does muddy up the waters a lot. It's very, very intense. But I mean, yeah, the code is fucked up, man. And it's probably, to be honest, like, other people don't want to fuck with us. It's like, yeah, we got all of these. Our code is a bunch of Trojans, bunch of viruses. They don't want that shit. Like, y'all fuck shit up, man. Y'all come in and fuck shit up. Y'all just do anything. It's like, yeah, everybody gets love. That's what Mansa Musa did, right? Mansa Musa, right? One of the richest men in history, right? My grandfather on my father's side is from Mali. Um, like, he just was so rich. He had so much gold. He was just giving it to everybody, like everybody in his path, everybody, all the whole of Africa, all over Arabia, just giving gold away. And it's like, man, that's how black people are, man. We just a joyous, jolly people. We're not really taught racism. We're not taught to hate people. We weren't raised to hate people. We weren't raised to even, really, to be honest, to be like the whole buy black movement, like, that had to be done because people were not taught to do that. I mean, they had black people so fucked up. They have to be taught to support each other, because we just like, carefree we like carefree hippies. That's what our mentality is, and a lot of times people take advantage of that. But I mean, we could be the opposite of that too. Like I say, I mean, I had I was doing a computer service call with my 380, walking through O Block. This one chick, she had her problem. It was tripped out. Like, Norton antivirus is so fucked up. That literally is why her computer wasn't working. I had to, it took me a while to figure shit out, but then I figured that Norton was what was messing her computer up. And then I just basically just uninstalled the shit, like, after an hour or two. And that resolved the problem. It's like, yeah, I'm walking through O Block. I had this is the thing. I was still oblivious. I'm an older dude at this time. I'm like, what? And I'm not I'm still the same bougie nigga. I had a drop top Mustang I was going to my store with every day. Now, I had no idea at this time. This was like 2010, 2010 or so, 2011-ish. I had no idea who the fuck um King Von was or any. It wasn't called Old Block. It was called Parkway Gardens. I'm 20. How old was I'm about 31, 30 years old. Like Chief Keef just came out. Like it was, that song where it was in an abandoned apartment. They was literally in a abandoned apartment. And that I forgot that damn song, but that took off. And then I had no idea they was from fucking Parkway Gardens. I thought they was just some, you know, hood dudes in an apartment building somewhere on the south side. I had no exactly idea where. I mean, the song was kind of catchy. It was definitely like a low resolution, low grade video. And I used to sell software. I used to sell bootleg software. So I mean, I actually helped the dude with my, like, because the software I sold him, he made a rap video, and the rap video was raw, man. I was impressed. I was like, damn, you made this with this little bootleg software. I'm like, that shit was on YouTube. Like, this was like 2000, like I say, 2010, 2011. That shit was on YouTube and everything, man. Dude, it was like, now I'm helping niggas make hood rap videos and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a DVD copier, CD copier. People used to, like, during this time, this was like the pinnacle of bootleg DVDs and shit, and CDs. Like, so I would have a copier, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had a DVD CD copier. So I would charge them, so many, amount of money to copy DVDs and CDs. And yeah, I had like a whole, like, it was like, man, it was like hood Kinkos with computers and all kind of shit, man. It was like, that shit was cool, man. People was happy, man. I had some shit like that, because it was like, needed, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was very needed. But because it wasn't that many people that had computer stores. It was some, but they started closing up. But yeah, I mean, that's why the black community is so fucked up, man. It's not enough brave souls to just go out there and really try to start a business from the ground up. Like, they don't know how to do it, or they don't want to be bothered. I mean, really, we programmed to be workers, from slavery. We're programmed to be slaves, workers. So your grandparents taught you to work, go get you a job. They never said, go start a business. You know what? I tell my daughters, start a business. Go get a lemonade stand. You know, uh, what I'm saying? You want to, I talk to them about stocks and stuff. They like Roblox. I say, I showed them, whipped out my Robinhood app, and I bought some Roblox stock, and I showed them, like, yeah, So it's like, I'm opening that avenue. Like, I don't know what's gonna become of it, but it's like, man, I'm not about to, go get you a job. That's it. Don't say nothing. Like, just, I mean, don't get me wrong. Jobs are the start of business, because if you're gonna bootstrap a business, you do need some money. I use the money I work from working at the Chicago Public Schools to start my business. If I didn't have that money, I would have been hard pressed to start a business. So um it is important to, a good thing about working is, being an employee, is you're learning how to actually do business. You learn how to be a businessman from that job. You learn, okay, this is the system. you know, the companies, they train you on how to run their business. So you can learn from that, and then you go start your business. You know, okay, this is what you do. This is what time you got to prep. This is what the things. So a lot of times, that's what that working for a business actually is training to actually start a business yourself. You need to know a lot more than that, because you don't get to see what the accountants have to do. Because when you have a small business, you got to be an accountant, you got to be a bookkeeper, you got to be the janitor, the customer service agent, you got to be the manager. You gotta be the all kinds of hats you have to wear until you have enough to pay for employees to do all those things. And it's like, yeah, you might do something, but you're not seeing the books, you're not seeing accounting, you don't know how to, you never worked in marketing, so you got to learn the things that you didn't learn from that job. And I guess that's the missing puzzle of why people don't really do good in business as well, because they don't know how to do all these things. They don't know how to market. They don't know it's market first, it's market last, it's market, uh, you know, every single day. Marketing literally is keeping your business, in people's eyes, letting them see on your business on a day-to-day basis, catching eyeballs, making sure you're relevant. That's kind of, first grade understanding of marketing. Getting people, because if people don't know you exist, they're not gonna mess with you, because they don't even know you exist. So how can they buy something that they don't even know exists? I mean, it just doesn't work that way. Let me put some marketing in real quick. Yeah, it's just like that. Like, you have to show people that you exist. You have to put yourself out there and show the world your business exists. Marketing 101. And it's like, yeah, I mean, um it's a thing where, yeah, the reason why a lot of black people have the social issues that they have is because they're terrible at business. And then, yeah, the whole code thing, no code, we have no code whatsoever. We don't stay on code because there is no code. I'm laughing, man, I guess to keep myself from crying, but I'm actually laughing because it's just, actually, I'm laughing because I kind of took a gummy before I got this live stream. That's the real truth. I'm not gonna cap, what I'm saying? This is definitely a no cap zone. I ain't gonna cap it all. That gummy is hidden. uh
Stop the cap.
but yeah, man. Yeah, we got problems, man. A lot of problems, because not enough businesses, man. We brainwashed to be workers, be slaves, hobbits, you know. And yeah, I mean, also we're brainwashed to hate Africans. Yeah, I'm laughing. This is the muhaha laugh, man. This is my muhaha laugh. Like, yeah, we program, it's like, yeah, I mean, that whole, you know, the whole tether shit and all that. I mean, yeah, you can have your jokes and all that, but at the end of the day, the joke is on you. Europeans flying back and forth. Air France. I remember when I was at the airport, Air France, British Airways, you know what I'm saying? And then you got Ethiopian Airlines, you got the Emirates, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to probably fly British Airways to fly to West Africa, um, Air France or whatever. Like, yeah, I mean, the thing is that the reason you got to do all of that is because you're not competing on the level of the Europeans. because you I guess you look at it like Africa, the bridge is burned, but it's not. You or what that bridge being burned in your mind, that hate, you know that certain level of hatred that you have for Africans. I mean, yeah, I mean, you could still technically have that. You can keep that, but if you keeping that and you're not competing, you're not, and you got white people all in Africa making money. The joke is on you. You've gotten brainwashed. you you've just been a victim of brainwashing. You've been the propaganda was great and it got you. Yeah. So um yeah, man. It take it the more money you have, the helpful it is to start a business. Like, I was thinking, I might start a coffee shop. Why not start a coffee shop, right? It could be in Gary, it could be anywhere. I mean, just start a coffee shop. I ain't scared of none of these niggas. That's another reason. It's like, man, Gary, Detroit, Chicago. I'm not scared of none of these niggas. When you move to Chicago, that you get you if you really, I guess, if you really a punk. I mean, you really can't be no punk and live in the south side or west side of Chicago. Even Chicago, period. Like, you can't survive in Chicago being a punk, or a pussy, or whatever, if you want to call it. And yeah, it's like, man, intermingling on the south and west side of Chicago, you get programmed. You get your thug upgrade. You get your thug upgrade, and the thug upgrade, or you could call it Pookie upgrade, is I ain't scared of none of these niggas. Shit. I mean, to be honest, that's the mentality that I have, that a lot of other people have. You could call it a stoic mentality. I mean, to a certain degree, it is, because you 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 know you I have not been privileged enough to kind of be in an upper class enclave or whatever, and kind of be somewhat separate from the scourges of society. Being in a middle class, neighborhood, you're around some people that are poor. You may have a mom and dad, but somebody down the street they don't live with their dad. Their mom's on food stamps. And basically Section 8. And it's like, yeah, some people that's got more money than you. Like, I remember it was dudes that graduated and got like a brand new Lexus. I was like, damn, wow. I got my mom's used car that she bought, as a backup. Like, I got an 87 joint in 1998. Like, you getting a brand new Lexus. I'm saying? My I'm driving the 1987 market crash. I'm saying? You got a brand new 1997 Lexus. What I'm saying? That's crazy. But yeah, man. It's like, it's some people that's more privileged even than I was. So the light, or candle has two ends, right? So even having that hedge, right, or somewhat, it's like I said, I'm still surrounded by the fringes of society. When you go, if you live in an upper class society, you're not close to those fringes like that. Those fringes are kind of far enough away from you. Because it's kind of like, if you're poor and you walking around an upper class neighborhood, in a way, it's kind of like, okay, well, you're poor, so obviously, like, you're just passing through, right? I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, I took a gummy before I got on here. So I mean it is, I'm just imagining that shit. Like, it's like, yeah, it's like, I mean, I kind of sound like the white people, them Karens and shit, but in their mind, that's how they probably look at it. Like, I know it's like, they what I'm saying? I don't know. They kind of look at it like, I mean, realistically, I'm just saying, like, I didn't grow up upper class. I'm just saying, like, okay, you surrounded by, expensive homes, the entry level house is like extremely expensive or kind of costly, right? And a person is like, you see them, they like kind of poor. You can see them, they kind of you see a poor person, you like, okay, they walk in, they got old clothes or whatever, you know look like maybe a bum, right? They're just they got to be just passing through, because they don't live there, unless that's just like, kind of crazy, somebody took a bum in, right? Okay, that's possible. But it's like, yeah, what are you doing here? Because it's like, obviously you don't even fit in. So what I'm saying is, the fringes of society, to a certain extent, the upper class, that it's a far enough hedge to that. Because I mean, yeah, a poor person probably could live in a middle class neighborhood, but they can't live in an upper, theoretically, like themselves, capable of living in a upper class community. So I myself, I had to, live around both, and mostly, middle class or lower middle class, or below, and that's kind of who I've been around my whole life. And even in Chicago, like, you got family that are not well to do. You still got to go visit them. They got a birthday party or some party. Now you're on the west side. you know, and then you know what I'm saying? You like, you going, I got family all over Chicago. So it's like, um, it's like, yeah, man, it's that upgrade, man. You're gonna get it. Like, if you live in Chicago, you live in like a rough part, you live in Philadelphia, Baltimore, you know and you got that upgrade, that you know I ain't worried about none of these niggas. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Gary, Chicago, Detroit, I'm not worried about none of these niggas. Like, I see these niggas coming. Like, you know what I'm saying? Um, and it's not like, it's not like, it's, you got people that don't bother you. You got people, ain't, it depends on where you are and whatever. But um, it's helpful to have that mindset. It is helpful. Um, I ain't worried about nobody, to be honest. I ain't worried about nobody. I don't just be thinking, damn, what are the white people gonna do to me today? What the niggas gonna do to me today? What Muhammad and them gonna do to me? Am I gonna they gonna blow me up? I don't think like that, man. I don't, that's part, I guess that's kind of, black pill. Like, I don't, I know the worst is there. I know the capability of the worst. Like, the worst is probably being in a prison. You know, that's probably the worst reality, right? Because that's got to be worse than being in a battlefield. Because technically, on a battlefield, that's rough too. I mean, that's like a poll. You know, what's worse? The being in prison. Okay, life, life in prison, or being on the most harshest battlefield, on earth. Like, probably the roughest battlefield is, it's a lot of battles going on, man. Shit. You got the Congo, you got, Sudan, you got Ethiopia's fighting, you got Somalia, you got uh Ukraine, Russia, and you got the Middle East, they still fighting. They had a ceasefire, but then they start firing off, Lebanon, Gaza, in Israel, you know, you take your pick, man. You know, probably the most severe battling going on is probably I would say Russia, Ukraine, but it could go down. It's hot spots all over the world, Shit, you could say Chicago is a fucking hot spot. Um, Shoot, they shooting, they killing cops, man. It's so fucked up, man. I thought about that the other day. I was like, man, Chicago is like it's probably like one of the biggest failed cities in America. Because I can't, even though I will say, it's some nice parts of Chicago, like, it's a lot of nice parts. It's nice parts of Chicago, but even some of them people get robbed. Like in the North Side, some people get robbed. Like, they'll go up there and rob them. They know, they got money and stuff. They'll go rob. But yeah, Chicago, has some nice spots. But as far as the whole Chicago, as far as Chicago in itself, I could not tell you that I'd be lying to you if I told you it's not a failed city. As far as crime, I have to tell you, I couldn't argue that Chicago is not a failed city. I couldn't argue even Gary is a failed city. It's not as big as Chicago, but Chicago is probably, I would say, the biggest city that actually is a failed city. Um, how long that's been that way. It's been that way for a long time, but Chicago is hard to manage, really, I think, because it's got a lot going on, a lot of people, a lot of moving parts. It's hard to manage, but yeah, it's definitely a failed city, probably one of the biggest failed cities in America. I mean, I don't think they're the only one. When I think of failed cities, I don't know if New York is a failed city. I don't think so. I'm not sure, but when I think of failed cities, I think of probably Philadelphia is definitely a failed city. I can see, I just be like, man, Kensington. I just think of Philadelphia, and that's just one street. They probably like got different dope spots and stuff. It's like, man, Kensington, damn, you know. I just be like Philadelphia, man. I think about my favorite movie, Trading Places, and I'm like, damn, I'm just like, man, Kensington. That's all I think about, man. It's just like a bunch of zombies getting high, just leaning. They right there right now, just leaning. You can't tell me that shit ain't no failed city, man. The whole world can see your city, the occupants of your city just leaning. They just doing a gangster lean. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell me that's not a failed. That's a failure. They literally have The Wire, the reality of Amsterdam on The Wire is them motherfuckers. How they, let that shit go down like that for the whole world to see. Yeah, the failed city, man. It's one of the original cities in America. Like that shit go back to, goddamn it, the fucking Revolutionary War and shit. The fucking um original colonies. I think it was like one of the first cities in America. I think it's like older than New York, or about the same, or it might be Philadelphia. It might be the first city before even New York, but I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, man, that's definitely no brotherly love. That ain't no brotherly love, bruh. Hell no. That's brother. That's brotherly. You know, um, hatred. I want you to fucking die, motherfucker. Take this needle, you fucking asshole. And take, you know, I mean, it's people trying to survive. You know, it's people selling drugs to make money. You know, but at the same time, man, you know, you see, you know, I look at it like, I mean, people are not okay. Here's the thing, right? This is what I do know. This is reality. I know this is the richest country in the world, right? So it's so rich, right? Food is not an issue, you know. Thank God, alhamdulillah, it is not an issue. Food is not really an issue. Most people are. It's not. It's so much not an issue that people are fat, right? Well, so that means that okay, yeah, well, you know, housing, um, what else you need? You know, cost of living issues. Yeah, that gets complicated because see, it goes back to like I said, the social issues. You know, people not having jobs. You know, you got clustered people that you know just over the years, decades, no businesses, no jobs. Then people got to survive. They got to what? They got to turn to you know system D to survive. You know, they're unemployed. They have to survive. You know, they have to go to the savage world to survive, the underworld, right? To survive, to be able to pay for rent, to be able to pay for cost of living without jobs, without economic opportunities, i.e., employment. They have to work. They have to work the underworld to survive, to make money under the table, you know, illegal activities to make money. And those illegal activities, I mean, it's just like the business world, you got supply and demand, you got, you know, customers, you got a lot of customers, you selling drugs, you selling poison. The poison is profitable, you know, so you making money, you know, selling poison, you know, um, you know, and it's making money. You know, it's helping people pay for their cost of living because they don't have any jobs. They don't have any people that they don't have any businesses. Therefore, i.e., they don't have jobs. So how do these people survive? How do you make money when you don't have a job? You know, these people are not selling. They're not you know selling fucking you know encyclopedias door to door. Just you gotta be realistic. They're not selling encyclopedias door to door. People don't even read encyclopedias anymore except online. So that's not how that works. It's not how that's going to work. They're not selling knives door to door. They're not selling fucking Avon door to door. They gotta make money. And then, you know, buyers and sellers. People are high, they like these drugs, they need these drugs, you know, because they're highly addicted, and you know all of this stuff goes hand in hand. I mean, you know, it's not just black people selling drugs. I mean, it's everybody's in the drug business primarily. From what I just said, it's no different. Some people just want to have a lifestyle that they don't have to work. You know, you got those people as well. They don't want to have to worry about working a job. The underworld is profitable, and then it could be more profitable than even you know regular business, or you know whatever you're doing. That it could be very very profitable. You know, and they don't want to have to work a job. They don't want to have to do that, or they'll use that money and start a business, to kind of funnel money into it, they'll have the underworld money, mixed in with the regular world, with i.e. business, the business world, because the underworld money is profitable. That's that's how the Italian mafia. That's and it's not just them. It's how a lot of mafias or syndicates work. They make money off of the underworld also in the regular world. The regular world is kind of a front to the underworld, right? Because you got all of these illegal activities that are profitable. So it's not just I'm not just talking about black people, but in a sense where it comes to black people, as far as what I'm talking about, as far as Philadelphia, Kensington Street, west side of Chicago, heroin highway, um 290, you know they it's kind of different, because it's like, okay, the mob, necessarily Italian mafia, didn't do that because you know not necessarily because they couldn't work for someone. I mean, initially that's how it started, actually, to be honest. The Irish wasn't able to get jobs. Also, the Italians, they weren't even, some reports, or I saw some, videos on YouTube. I even shared them, where at one time Italians were not even considered white in this country, and they weren't able to get jobs. They were like, kind of ostracized. Same with the Irish, right? So that's why they formed, kind of very hardcore significance, because it was like basically out of the same element, where they had to survive in the underworld because they wasn't given jobs. Well, it's not it's not like black people are following the same format. It's like it's different. It's very similar in the sense that, yeah, they're not getting jobs. Like, they're not, this businesses are not um wanting to be there, because let's be honest, like, even if if you think about it, like the hood or whatever, they not not opening no businesses in the hood like that, because it's just too much crime. But even in the middle class areas, even you all you got to do is read Franklin E. Frazier's, and they even have audiobooks, or people reading the books on YouTube. I shared it one time, where he talks about the black bourgeoisie. The black bourgeoisie, he talked about that in the 30s and 40s. They were having a hard time with business, like, because what you'll have, like, in these like black bourgeoisie neighborhoods, like for example, even in Chicago, upper middle class areas or whatever, where black people got some money, to buy a Jaguar and a house or whatever, they don't have businesses like that. The same thing arise. The Arabs have gas stations. They have Korean cleaners. It's like a fancy hood. That's basically what I'm trying to tell you. Because black people don't have the same concept of, like, the Italians, they have businesses. Like the Mexicans, they have businesses, right? Black people, they just live places, just like Dr. Claude Anderson said. Even when they have money, they're business averse. They don't have, like, Africa Town type stuff, like the whole, like, Tommy, he's kind of Tommy Sotomayor is saying, you know Tulsa was just a bunch of stores. I mean, okay, yeah, so, but it's like, yeah, black people even don't just have a bunch of stores. Like, that whole concept, I don't know if Tulsa has something to do with it. Like, black people think they shit gonna get burned down. I don't think that's the case, but it's like, yeah, they don't have, adequate enough businesses. That's all. It just offices, buildings, commercial spaces, businesses, in those commercial spaces. It's just they struggle with that because they struggle with having some type of it just struggle, man, with just just having some type of like base, and it kind of goes back to this, right? Black people were, because of slavery, they were like kind of uprooted here. This is not we weren't organically placed here. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't organic. I mean, I talked about this before. I mean, white people weren't organically placed here either. They were not. This is not their origin story. They were shipped from Europe here. A lot of the poor, the peasants and the serfs were sent to the Americas. They weren't like in chains and shit. Like, some of them were in prison, insane asylums though. And they were given the opportunity for freedom to get out of jail, to get out of the insane asylum, to go to a new country. And that's what, they weren't in chains, but they probably didn't really have a choice. They had to leave the prison. The queen, she wanted, you know, uh, the prisons to be empty, or whoever the king or queen was at that time. They wanted those prisons empty. They have to feed and house these prisoners. They need new people to go to this new world. Probably not too many people were brave enough to go to this new world. Okay, these prisoners, they could go to this new world. Of course, they wreak havoc because they're some of the meanest, toughest people in their society going to another society, where you just send a whole bunch of thugs to a new country, and they have nothing to lose, and they used to robbing and pillaging. That's why they went to jail. They go into a new world. It's like, yeah, I mean, black people were subjugated and put in ships and chains and dungeons. It's a different experience. And then from the time they arrived, forced into slavery, uh, it's a little bit different, a lot, way different. Captured, POWs, basically from African tribes that were, captured. Totally different experience. But black people actually are prisoners of war. Actually, if you want to look at it in its proper term, you were in a tribe, your tribe got, captured, or you got captured, you were put in slavery. That's how that went. And it was tribal warfare going on in Africa. you know so you are a POW, you are actually a prisoner of war. you know Europeans weren't necessarily well, you could say kind of similar. It's like the elites, man. They, even the kings and chiefs in Africa, it's like they had the same game plan, but just, obviously, black people's situation was way more vicious, but very similar. Like I say, it's a similar plot line, but not as vicious as in painful and hard. Not as much hardship as black people had to deal with. Being in chains and all that shit. I mean, you know, it wasn't black people just got caught, stealing a loaf of bread and was sent to jail. They were, fighting for their lives, in Africa, man. I mean, petty criminal, whatever, he goes to jail, and then he gets the option to go to Europe. I mean, go to a new country, go to, somewhere far, because yeah, the people that are doing good, right? They got a job, they work for their father as a merchant in England. They're not going to no new country. They until they hear, okay, great things about it, then they might conquest, and then they bringing in, they got money, they coming from money, they got, more to trade and all that type of stuff. So, I mean, yeah, when they were doing great, like the elites in Europe, they didn't leave Europe. They stayed in Europe, you know, and they had kids and all of that. I mean, they didn't go to no new country. That's why they're there where they are, and they still have that mindset where it's like, yeah, I mean, um, I come from, my ancestors, where they had enough money that they didn't leave Europe. They didn't have to leave Europe. They weren't in bondage or in prison or whatever, or jail, and they was given the option to go to a new country. They, had estates, or they lived in apartments or whatever, or tenements, and they survived, day-to-day life in Europe, and they, generationally stayed in Europe. But yeah, I mean, black people's experience, totally different. It's not organic. I mean, even the fact that it not being organic, that has, it's like trying to have some type of, reach back to Africa. I mean, is, totally different experience, because Europeans, they had a reach back because they know where they came from. They know, okay, even if they got in prison or jail, they know they have family back there. They can write. They can get on a ship and go back to the, country, with, basically some new, new resources, a new lease on life or whatever. Black people didn't have that type of scenario, so that's where the whole reach back thing is, nah, it was no, oh, you get on a ship and go back to Africa, and set up, some type of trade, so it's like, yeah, that 400 years of brainwashing, or systematic separation. It's like, yeah, it's an intense thing, it's very, very intense. um it's some people that were able to, get out of that, get, do, go back, you know what I'm saying? Shit, it's people up in, shoot, I watched a video today of Austin Hollerman, man. He's, he likes Kenya. I think his travel base followers, they not feeling the whole Africa thing. They not feeling the whole go back to Africa movement. Like, when you talking niggas to, talk to the niggas, talk about let's go back to Africa. That's that God body shit, that go back to Africa shit. It's like on the Nas album. It's like they got body shit that go back to Africa. That go back to Africa. Marcus Garvey talk. When is the ship coming, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's like, man, Joe, it's we what I'm trying to tell you is, like, what I say over and over again. I mean, it's a number on us, like, as far as, like, the reason why, what I'm trying to say is that the reason why we're fucked up in business and all this other shit, it's a difference in all of these other people that are good in business and us. And one of those, you got to look, okay, when you're trying to diagnose what a problem is, you got to look at all aspects of what possibly could be, or the differences of whatever else is something that is working. Like, the technician's mindset, right, is, all right, you see something that works. Okay, how does this work? Right. All right, it works just like this. It has this part and it has all of these parts. You can take a fucking picture of it. Be like, okay, what the fuck is wrong with this? Why, what can I place? It's like reverse engineering. What can I put with this part that's not working, or this side of this machine that's not working? or this computer, what is different? And then you try to spot and see if there's any differences. Well, obviously, when you look at black people like that, the difference is, it's not culturally connected to the people that you came from. And you got people that actually are brainwashed to believe they're Indians and all this other goofy shit. It's just that simple. I mean, I don't have to be a genius to point that out. That's just the stark difference. Every fucking body. Talk about Mexicans, Dominicans, fucking even Jamaicans and Haitians. They go back to their island. I mean, it's not Africa, but they do have some type of base. That's why Jamaicans are very good in business. I mean, tons of man. You see jerk chicken restaurants in white neighborhoods. They like, man, Bumby clot, me now, man, man, fuck that Ross Clot, man. I'll put up a business anywhere I want, man, because they pirates. All Dominicans, Haitians, Puerto Ricans, shit. All of them islands were pirate ship destinations, like fucking Pirates of the Caribbean. That's why it's called Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are ancestors. Those were children of pirates. when I went to Dominican Republic, I knew some of them people are the descendants of black pirates. Mixed race pirates, whatever the fuck you want to call it, calypso pirates, mulatto, or um, Kate, whatever you want to call it, all pirates, man. It was ships, man. You gotta think 15, 1400s, 1600s, 1700s. You had the underworld back then too, and they weren't no navy; they were pirates. The actual start of the U.S. Navy was because it was a bunch of pirates they had to defend themselves against. There you go, the history of the U.S. Navy right there for you. Boom shakalaka. Yeah, those are all ancestors of pirates, man. That's why them chicks, man, they're beautiful, they're submissive, but they is fucking still a fucking they grandchildren of pirates. Bitches will cut your ass up, man, and make chum out of your ass. But you gotta, if you respect them, man, they good. They, man, thick motherfuckers, man. Thick, I mean, oh my god. Natural big titties, ass. I mean, like, man, whew, boy. I mean, just pirate coochie. I mean, motherfucking man. It's worth the trip just off that, man. I don't even like it's just some different shit, man. Motherfuckers be hating, they be hating talking about like the whole passport shit or traveling and shit. Like that shit is worth it like a motherfucker, man. It is like the women is a bonus, but like you get a whole different experience. And like, yeah, the women, even just the women, is worth it. Like they try to downplay it, like the women in the other countries are the same in this country. Bullshit. Bull motherfucking shit. Them women think they can't afford no plastic surgery like that. Like some of them do, but they got natural every fucking thing, and the food is natural. So you gonna have like just, I mean, the people are just, they're getting like less processed food, more like you order some juice, the juice is concentrate. It's like concentrated juice. Like you gotta literally dilute it with water. It's so fucking thick. I mean, the fruit punch is actually fruit punch. It's like fruit mixed in, and it still got like all the pulp and shit like that. I'm like, God damn, this shit, no corn syrup, none of that shit. Motherfucking fruit with cane sugar, you know, man. I mean, it's just like you just gonna you healthy, like you gonna get healthy, you getting sun. You know, it's like, man, I mean, it's dangerous. It goes down, but it's like, man, I mean, you know, it's the same concept kind of applies. It's like, you know, I don't look at black people the same way, man, like other people do. I don't delineate because white people don't delineate. I mean, they know a European from a American, but they still know that they have some type of connection with that European. I look at it the same way. I'm definitely not trying to be retarded. You know, I if I don't give a fuck if I'm the only smart motherfucker in the room. I'm gonna just be that motherfucking smart person in the room. I could be in a room with 100 people. If it just so happened that I'm the only one that has like, you know, a brain that works, it just so happens to be me. You know, and I just look at everybody else like they crazy. You know, but yeah, it's, you know, like I say, you learn like items with like items in fucking kindergarten. You look at what's different between black people and everybody else, and you see, okay, this is what's off. I mean, you know, the whole business shit. Like, to be honest, like, yeah, I mean, like, you probably got to go back to Africa if you want to be a. You got to go take a trip to Africa, man, and have a connection. You know, you sell some coffee beans or something, some chocolate. You know, then come back over here and then set up a business here and then have production in Africa somewhere on the West Coast. And it's like, yeah, man. I mean, start right there, man. I mean, like, that's what the Koreans do. That's what the Chinese do. That's what the Indians do. Who else? Who else you want me to name? The Lebanese, the Palestinians, the Persians. What else? I can go on and on. Like that's just how that is, man. You don't have to do that, but it helps. You know, you get cheap merchandise or lower cost merchandise produced, then you sell it for more in this country. Import export. You know, you don't have to do that. You could actually produce it here, but it'd be harder. You know, where you gonna get sun for cocoa beans? Where you gonna get sun to make chocolate? You know, Hawaii, you gonna go to Hawaii every, you know, set up, you know, expensive ass Hawaii. That's what you're gonna do. Okay, good luck. May the force be with you. But yeah, you know, it kind of helps, man, when you have some type of connection, man. You know, um, that's why they really made a big deal, man. The CIA made a big deal about, you know, Malcolm X going to Africa, you know, going to the Middle East, you know, going to these different parts of the world. You know, they were really concerned about that, you know. Um, cause I mean, to a certain extent, you know, even though I do believe that you know, things are changing as far as the power structure is definitely you know, is being definitely challenged, right? Um, you know, white people really looked at us like we were their, you know, they still look at us like we're their slaves. Yeah, they do. Like, if you be around them, if you talk to them, you know, if you even go on, you know, different channels, yeah, they'll if they really mad at you, they'll say like, yeah, you're a slave. You know, I mean, obviously they'll say nigger, but they was like, yeah, I mean, the way they look at you like you're their slave. And if you live like you their slave, which a lot of us do, we depending on them for jobs and shit, you know, and it's like, um, it's okay to get a job, but if you got to depend on other people to work, that's where it gets muddy. And that's where Asians, you know, they do. That's why they do so well, because they don't want to have to, you know, they do work in, you know, for other people, but they have a lot of jobs to offer their own, and they don't necessarily have to work. They have the option to work for other people, but they don't necessarily have to, like black people do. Like they have to work for other people in many regards. They don't really have too many choices. Other people have more choices because they have more businesses. Some a lot of Arabs, they don't like working for other people because they don't have the freedom to practice their religion and all that other stuff, that they have to do. They don't want to, same thing with Jews. Like, they have more freedom working for themselves, and that's why they are predominantly in. And then I think they make up the others too, as far as like, you know, senses and stuff, because they not necessarily like, some of them might be, because they could go either way. They could check off a box and say, I think Jews, but mainly it's not. It's mainly considered white, because they don't use Jew in if you notice the census, when they ask you for a job, they don't have the option for Jews. You ain't never pointed that out, huh? You never pointed that out, because the whole argument online is they're not white. No, you there's no box for Jew. It's only white. White, black, Indian. I mean, no, not even Indian, Asian, Hispanic. And I think they have other, right? They have an option for other. So yeah, it's no, I guess you could, depending on what you want to put, you can put other, I guess, if you're Jewish, but I mean, you know, I guess they could, they have the option to even check. They have multiple options. It's like they could choose white or other, depending on what day of the week they feel like. I mean, Jewish people are like magical white people. That's basically what I'm saying. Oh man. Oh boy. But yeah, man, it's something that, as far as to say that you have a connection with someone, like everybody else has some type of connection to another country, is what I'm trying to say, you know to get through to you, as far as the differences. And it's like, yeah, that connection is important, very, very important. The word tether actually means connected. Everybody is that. It's funny how, you have these movements where, like this whole, the whole grift movement with Tariq Nasheed. I just, like I said, I wish to a certain degree, I kind of, as far as communists, because see, one of the things about communism, the good thing about communism, it eliminates all, like, a lot of opportunists, because it's opportunists, but they don't have the opportunity or need either, even because everybody get rations and a stipend, right, for whatever job they do, and that's it. That's all they get, right? Well, you really can't. Nobody really has any money to pay for much of anything else. I mean, I really don't 100% know how it works, because I haven't been to Cuba. But the thing is this, right? It's not that many people have an incentive to be like, some Tariq Nasheed shit, because kind of they already have, if it really worked, like if communism worked really great, everybody has everything they need, right? They don't have a need to go, you know start some social media movement to make money, because they already have what they need. The incentive is kind of already there, I guess. I mean, in theory. But it's always going, I mean, I guess, gonna be somebody that wants more. But what I'm saying is like, let's just say if Tariq Nasheed came from like maybe like if his father was like the like Bob Johnson, the owner of BET, he wouldn't need to fucking do all of this. You know, I gotta sell a bunch of DVDs this year. The next year, I gotta I gotta start a GoFundMe. Then I gotta start another GoFundMe. You know, it wouldn't be like if Dr. Umar and Tariq Nasheed and a lot of these other people were like, if they came from like a wealthy family, they wouldn't have no need to like start GoFundMe's and shit. You know what I'm saying? They just wouldn't have that. They wouldn't need to, you know, grift. And what I'm saying, you know, you wouldn't have no Princella. If Princella came from, you know, like believe it or not, right? It's a lot of black people in Chicago that do have businesses and do fairly well. Like if you ever, all of them like hair pomade products like Soft Sheen. Soft Sheen is actually the reason why, that the whole soul glow, let your soul glow thing, that's actually Soft Sheen. Like it's a very similar company. It started in Chicago. It's like some chemists from Chicago. They started that company where they made basically black hair care products. Soft Sheen. So, and it's like basically that that company or whatever. The reason why I brought that up, I kind of I kind of forgot, had a brain fart as far as why I brought that up, but yeah, I actually forgot why I talked about that or mentioned that aspect. Yeah, I mean it's I guess what I was saying was it was black businesses. It is black businesses that do operate and do exceptionally well. And well, yeah, I was talking about the whole why all of these people be grifting, like the Princellas, all these people that grift. The one of the reasons why they grift is because they need money. They have a very strong need. Like people hustle because they really need money. And one of those hustles, is to start some movement so they can get money. That's in the 48 laws of power. What's going on, Andre? Um, no, I'm just talking about in theory, like if these guys, man, had everything they needed, they wouldn't have to grift. They wouldn't have to sell people, these dreams and stuff like that, and steal all of their money. Like, and just basically they don't get anything in return. Like it, and it's like, and it does a lot of people harm. Like, just think of like the harm Princella does. All of the I shouldn't laugh at this. This is breakdown of society. Like, this is just breakdown of society level. All of the lesbians, damn, I laughed again. all, all the lesbians Princella created, man, because she just needed some money. That's what I'm saying. Like, the harm that people do because they need some money needs to be studied and researched. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, I mean, think about Cynthia G. And I really don't like mentioning her. I think it's like the fucking talking about the Candyman or some shit, saying that I never really like all of the people, the other content creators is talking about all of these people and shit, and I never hardly ever mention them, because it's like, to me, it's like, man, I who gives, like, if okay, if you're trying to focus in on somebody that wants you dead, like, this person is obviously a clear and open enemy. They don't even want you to fucking gestate. They don't want you to be born. They don't want you to fucking live. I mean, it's very, very clear. It's like, I'm not going to be talking about pumping up, promoting that. But what I'm saying, because the reason why I gave myself some type of amnesty to do that is that you wouldn't have these people, if they had money. Like if their parents had any money to give them, or they themselves had money, or had some type of ethics and morals to just, deal with things the best way they can. Because like, yeah, it does a lot of people harm. You got people, just think of how many why am I laughing, man? I'm trying, like, man, I mean, the gummy is what it's fading off or whatever, but it's like all of the abortions, Cynthia G subscribers, probably had by her influence, oh, it's a boy. Oh, let's, take me to the clinic, I mean, yeah, it does a lot of people harm. You see, that's the part of capitalism people don't really talk about. And it's like, yeah, to a certain extent, yeah, capitalism does harm people. Going back to Kensington Street, Philadelphia, them people don't have, like, one of the reasons why I mentioned how wealthy this country was, and I kind of forgot, I was all kind of drifted off into that conversation, was that you don't really need to, it's not like you really need to sell drugs to make money in America. Don't have to sell drugs, like, believe it. I mean, even though it's like $1 billion industry and all of that trillion, legal narcotics in America alone is over $1 trillion industry. Okay, that's why people sell it. That's why people sell drugs. I mean, but in theory, the whole I had to sell drugs because I ain't have nothing else. Uh, on some, like, I'm in poverty type shit. Like, yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, I get it, but no, let's keep it real. You wanted them hoes, man. You really wanted to be on some, you really wanted to, simp out, man, in the hood. That was your way to simp out. Let's keep it real, right? Let's call it what it is, man. That was your way to buy that motherfucking, Regal, that old school Regal on 24s, and get all of the quiches wet that you could. You said communism mostly benefits the elites. I mean, elites are gonna be the elites, man. It kind of goes into human competition. It's always gonna be those that compete better than others. That's true. I'm not a Tariq fan, but I agree with some of what he said. Speaking about tethers, that's an FBA concept. The thing is that ironically, because I kind of, kind of drifted in that too. Because one of the things that I was saying about that is that it's funny that he says tethers, because it's like everybody else, that's what they do. They tether back to the country of their origin. Black people are the only ones that really don't do it in the mass that others do it. It is a lot. One of the things that I'm very pleased with is the Black people that have traveled to Africa, made it, a comfortable experience as they possibly could, and enjoyed it. Because I really, I mean, they're doing better than even I am, and I'm part, Ghanaian, um, Senegalese, Mali, to be direct. But yeah, like, yeah, it's like, yeah, man, I like, I know that's the way. Like, that's, Africa is like one of the richest countries in the entire planet. So you can, if it was a place that you can get rich, that would be the place. I mean, in theory, in practicality, it's the richest place on earth. I mean, so uh, you know, a lot of people go there and what, extract resources, and they're getting rich. And they're white people, they're Indians there, they're Arabians there, they're everyone you could think of is there trying to make money. You know, they got bases over there. Um, other countries have bases over there. I mean, the thing is that yeah, that's the Chinese is there right now, building up stuff, making money. I mean, making babies. I mean, the babies is coming because I mean, like that. Some people say they're colonizers. Um, I guess you would say they're soft colonizers. Can't say that they're not colonizers. But yeah, I mean, I think that I'm not gonna go down that conversation. I'm gonna leave that shit to other people, man, talking about that because I'm not I'm not about to go down that road. I'm not going that in depth with it. I'm just saying that you probably should compete. That's all I'm saying. Like compete with the Chinese, the Europeans, everybody, this it's elite conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like it's I'm not saying I'm the only one that says this, obviously other people talk like this as well, but they don't necessarily, it's not something unique. But yeah, that's the tripped out thing that everybody else is actually in the word itself. What it means is tethering, is connected to something else, right? Everybody plays that game. Everybody plays that position. Black people are the only ones that don't, and then wonder why we have so many problems. You know.
He said, take a village to raise a child. But what if the village is retarded?
Oh yeah, you know, it comes with the territory. They over there working. They dicks get hard. You got big booties. Right in front of you. What can you do? You want to fuck? I mean, shit. Um. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Oh yeah. Yeah. Jamaica. Yeah. Yeah. It's tripped out, man. I forget about that in Jamaica. Um. You know. Yeah. China's an old country, man. I mean, I don't really talk about, when I talk about Europe and like the blacks in Europe and stuff like that, black people been all over the world, man. Um, the first dynasties, like that's one of the reasons why I'm so that's that's one of the reasons why I'm so bougie, man. Because I know my history, man. I'm on some like my like when it comes to history. I'm on PhD level. I'm advanced PhD, beyond PhD level with my understanding of history. So, I don't really like man, like I really, yeah, like it's like man, that's some elite level understanding I have when it comes to history. And it's a documentary. It's probably on YouTube. It's called what is it called? I think it's called The African Presence in Asia. Man, don't get high and watch that shit. That shit'll freak your ass out. Man, that shit is crazy, bro. Like, I mean, all of that shit was black people, like old ass black people from like thousands and thousands of years ago. Like the first Chinese dynasty was like black people, man. Just that shit. Just thinking about that shit be like just fuck. It just blows your mind. Like it's like damn, Oh man, it's just like God, dog, man. You like damn. You just think about niggas in China. And it's like, damn, you think about all of the martial arts movies, and it's like, man, it's niggas in China, man. Buddha was black. I gotta have that conversation. Buddha was black. I gotta go there and shit. Oh man. Oh my god, man. You done brought it out of me. But yeah, man, that's why the 5%ers, man, they call themselves Asiatic. um yeah, Asiatics. They call themselves Asia because all of that, man, black people were all over the world, man. It's like, man, it's crazy. A lot of white people laugh at that shit, but it's like, man, I mean, the first origins of mankind is, found in Africa. Is like, okay, well, there you go. There you go, Jim Shoe. There you go, Robbie. I mean, that whole racial shit is goofy, man. To a certain extent, it's like everybody, can have babies with can have healthy babies with one another. I mean, to a certain degree, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, white people they do have, a lot of different, you know, stuff going on, to be honest. I mean, I don't know, like I think I like it's certain shit you can't say on YouTube because they can like fuck you up over it and shit. So I'm not, I'll just say like white people are like the X-Men. That's all I'll say. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And it's like, yeah, man. I mean, it's certain shit. It's like certain stuff. I'm not because man, they get me, man. The YouTube police get me on the medical science shit. They get me on like, they talk about hate speech and shit. It's like, what the fuck, So I'm like, with that, with the whole X-Men shit, you get certain deformities and stuff like that, teenage, turtles, teenage, insert this, turtles. Yeah, man, it's not it just kind of is what it is, and it is what it is, and I'm not making any like stuff up or anything like it. It's actually, it is what it is. I mean, I didn't make, I'm not Yakub, I didn't make them or whatever. I don't really believe in that story. That's some like crazy shit. I read that book. That Yakub story is in the Message to the Black Man. That is crazy. Crazy. I mean, I do not believe that shit. Like, no. He said that village is doomed. Then, um, I haven't heard the Buddha was black argument before. Oh man, yeah, Asiatics, yeah. Uh, uh, um, yeah, man, yeah, yeah. It's not very hard to believe, man. It just a lot of people are brainwashed, If you didn't actually read books and shit and get in, see, because like I was thinking about this the other day, right? A lot of black people go into two camps. Okay. In the bourgeoisie, primarily they go into the I'll be the best Negro. I'll be the best black Negro that I can be. Like I'll be the best version of a black man, in a white world. Like like they kind of go into this white society as much as they can go to. Like you got that side, and then you got the on the other side of that is like Afro, someone is Afrocentric or Pan African, right? And they're trying to they wearing shells and shit, conch shells, and they trying to be one with Mother Africa, right? And they trying to be as black as they possibly can be, right? And the other side is trying to be, they call them coons, and they trying to be as white as they possibly can be, right? So it's like, man, to be honest, I'm not trying to say one is better than the other. They both elite in their own right. I'll be honest, the Afrocentric side of that, they tend to be more on some like, we got to just survive and, you know, be the best version of ourselves, being while all, whilst I'm, speaking English, King's English, whilst whilst being broke, um, all the while being broke, right? Not being, financially well off. One of the things about the black bourgeoisie is that, they trying to have that paper, they, trying to go, they trying to collect white paper, and they trying to, the paper with the white people on it, and they trying to, immerse themselves into, white society, or have their own private society, that is just as good as white society, i.e., DMV area, right? On other black enclaves in America, right? So, they look down on the Afrocentrics as like, they are into communism to a certain extent, a lot, quite a few of them. You know, they're not, that financially affluent, but they have enough money to put a, uh red, black, and green flag in front of their house that's probably in the hood or on the fringes. And they had enough money to, go back, they got enough money to go to Africa. Africa only is like 1,500, thousand, depending on what type of flights you got, how long you stay. They got enough money to, go to Africa, you know, but they don't really have that much money, as the kind of bourgeoisie, or whatever so they call them, they call them what they call them, coons or whatever, but they have money, and most of them, not all of them, not all, not all. And it's like, yeah, they do kind of, kind of worship, you know, they probably say the white woman is God. I mean, I don't know, like, what I'm saying, the other side is, they'll probably say the black woman is God or whatever, or the black man is God, um, depend on, you got different groups and shit like that. But yeah, man, I mean, they, some of the bourgeoisie have white wives and shit, you know, and that's what their way of kind of tethering themselves to white, culture or whatever, um they're not trying to be like the poor white people though, they're trying to be like the white elites, but yeah, I mean, black people, they're more Afrocentric. The most serious of them are trying to go to Africa, to travel or even live, and they know that, Africa doesn't have, the people there don't have a lot of money. Not all of them have a lot of money, so they kind of get adjusted to that, because they might not have that much as well, so it's, a lot of people are probably more or less, it's not that many probably that are Afrocentric, or maybe, I don't know. I don't know as far as how many people are within both groups. I mean, and then you got people like, I would say myself, I'm more neutral. I'm kind of neutral, I'm not, I don't believe the black woman is God or the white woman is God. I definitely don't. But yeah, it's definitely, I see those both camps. I see primarily, I'll say in the hood, I see the Afrocentrics, like, are they kind of in the hood a lot, I probably in like upper class, probably not gonna see much of them in the upper class, but they probably are there. I mean, but yeah, it's not probably not that many of them. But yeah, that's like kind of how that is, as far as that whole tether thing. Um, I will say probably the Afrocentric people probably would, you got some of them probably are probably rocking with that whole FBA, Tariq Nasheed, Griff cult. But it's, I'm seeing it's kind of fading away after this election. I mean, he kind of gets bored and he has to start a new grift. Um, it, like I said, I wish these people had money, so because they do a lot of damage. Some people say, I heard people say Tariq Nasheed might be an agent. I don't know. I mean, I'm not, I don't think Sexy Red is an agent, okay? But the argument for Tariq, I'm not quite sure. Like, I'm not 100% on that. I'm more 100% that Sexy Red is just was just basically a broke hood chick that started rapping, you know, and got a deal, and they just turned her into, some type of, I mean, she started having like, the beauty shop, not even beauty shop, the beauty store, Korean beauty store hip hop song. And then it took off, and then she got a record deal, and then, you know, all the hood girls, start, rallied around her, That's just how that is. I mean, it's more people that are lower class than anything. That's just the way it is. I mean, unfortunately, it's a lot of lower class. In the black community is no different, and it's no agency. It's no. She's not an agent. She might be set up to push that music, by the record companies, but she ain't no agent. Not Tariq. I don't know. It's a little, the argument is a little different, but I don't even think he's an agent, to be honest. I just think he was a broke dude, just like, you know, Dr. Umar, like a lot of other people, like Prince Ella, that just, has a power of influence. Some people have I forgot what it's called. It's like a different type of personality. Some people have a very convincing personality where they can convince people. Some of those people are very good salesmen. If you're very good at convincing people, they'll buy something. Like that's one of the keys to being a good salesperson, is getting others to be convinced to buy something, or committed to buy something, or be able to sell someone something, right? To be convincing, it's a skill set, right? And people take that and they, start a fucking YouTube channel, and then start, movements, GoFundMe's, convince people some crazy ass ideas or ideology, and then there you go, boom. Because people are very easily convinced. you know um some people are very good at convincing people or influencing people, right? So yeah, I just the only way I think that those people wouldn't have done what they done. I mean, it probably been somebody else trying to do some shit because it's always people looking to make some money. But I just think that yeah, I just wish they had their parents had some more money or something so they wouldn't have like I say. I mean, people do a lot of damage. All of them lesbians. Princella converted, or women she converted to lesbianism, just because her you know uh husband broke up with her and she had to survive. It's just that cruel. The world is very cruel like that. Like you just be out here trying to survive. Husband left you, what do? You start a YouTube channel and convince women to be lesbian. What do you do? you know Capital people complain about. They say capitalism, it makes people, turns people into predators. Turns people into, you know become opportunists and take advantage of people. You got a bunch of gullible people that listens to women. you know you make money off of that. How, and you need money. What do? you know you are a female madam, turning broads. You good at turning women out, getting them to do what you want them to do. I mean, you just you turn it to YouTube and you just make a whole bunch of money giving people advice. you know Fuck men and start licking twat. I mean, I don't know. Start carpet munching. I mean, if you're gullible enough to fall for that, I mean that's Darwin, right? Darwin. Theory of evolution or whatever. You know, they just people crashing out. I mean, I guess they can recover from that, go back to dick. But I mean, dudes don't really, I mean, I don't know, like that shit don't usually work out well. Like, you gotta tell I guess, I mean, dudes will be cool with it, you know. Um, as long as I don't know, I guess. um a lot of them chicks be messed up, man. They can't even keep a dude though. That's why they go be great, with other women because they can't keep a man. And the reason they can't keep and the reason they can't keep a man is the same reason they can't keep a woman. I mean, it's just like it still goes back to the same problem. You can't keep people. You got problems. You got problems dealing with people. Women are people too. They're not men, but they're people. You can't keep them happy either because you got a problem. You got a people problem. Oh my god. Oh. I mean, you got to know what you're doing, man, and you got to read books. It's kind of hard for you because you're Canadian, I guess. Um, so I don't know. Like Canada is a little bit different than America, mm, but mm, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I listen to people, but I try not to. I'm able to kind of spit out the meat and the fat. What I mean, spit out the fat, eat the meat, and separate the bone. Some people are not able to do that. It takes a while to be able to do that. I guess it takes some practice or some steadfastness to be able to do that. But what I notice is like I see people's flaws. I might not point them out because I don't want to, insult anyone or, talk down on anybody, especially if I'm listening to them. But one of the things I'll do say, and this is why people don't really like me, is that, you know, a lot of people are broke. The motivations and the things why people do the things that they do is financially related. That's, it's the topic of discussion I'm going to be, probably doing next. So, I mean, the motivations for people is based off of being broke, not having no money. A lot of the reasons why people do what they do is because they don't have any money. You know, and when the whole Pan Africanist thing or whatever, not supporting that or whatever, the whole thing with that is just basically, one of the things that the powers of having thriving businesses and trillions of dollars of wealth, and then you have other people, or you say black people don't have that much wealth, only have like you know only about a trillion or close to 2 trillion versus someone that has over 100 trillion, 200 trillion, or something like that, or even more than that. I mean, it's like coming into a dice game with a hot $2 or $1. I mean, you don't have any money. Basically, it's hard for you to compete. So, what are the things that I see that what black people do because they kind of are so desperate, or they put themselves in a desperate position because they just kind of don't know really what else to do, because they're very, very dependent on this, on let's just say the greater society. They depended on white people for financial survival. That what they one of the things that I find that black people do, just like the bourgeoisie, is they try to tether themselves to white people, and that means pleasing them. And in order to please them, they defy their own blackness by trying to please white people as to get their favor with them. And white people are not dumb. My great grandfather was white. White people are not dumb. They know what you're doing. They know you're a coon too. You're a sympathizer. That's the term for it. Like you're a sympathizer. They know you're a sympathizer. And it's like, hey, it's cool. They'll probably, give you some favors, but at the end of the day, they just know you're a sympathizer. That's it. You know, you come around them, they'll disrespect you. They'll probably disrespect you even worse. They probably respect the African centered person more than the sympathizer, because they kind of look at they'll look at the sympathizer as like a weak person. You're weak. You're kind of weak. That's why it's the whole where it comes the whole nigger wake up call, or nigger wake up call. I just said how it is. Like that's where that comes in, because it's like, yeah, they know who you are. I get tons of respect from white people because I used to live around white people. I know white people probably better than most black people because I had to live in a yeah, I had to live around them. That's all I say. For a quite amount of time, and um it's yeah, my childhood was kind of messed up a little bit, but you know it's like basically, yeah, you're just like a sympathizer. you know if you're on that level, like if you so extreme with it like that, you trying to please them. you know hey, they look at you like you're a sympathizer, like you're some, like a puppet or some shit that they could play with. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I get it. You trying to please the people with the power, and it's like, yeah, I get it. I understand it. When I say I play chess, man, I'm very intelligent. I know exactly what's going on. Like I've been through all of this shit myself. Like, I didn't start here. You know, I went through, different segments of my life where, I had to learn the hard way. I had to go through a lot of fire, you know, a lot of understanding to get to where I'm at. It didn't come overnight.
The shit's chess, it ain't checkers.
But it's like, yeah, like I say, man, it's human competition, man. It's what I'm backed up on videos, man. I got a lot to do, but it's like, man, I don't really all the time. I don't really have a lot of time to be on YouTube and all that shit. I got a lot of shit to do, and a lot of times, man, I don't feel like going on YouTube. Like, I'm just not in the mood, man. You know, um, and if I'm gonna go on YouTube, I want to prepare. Like, if I want to do something really formal, I want to really prepare for it. So it'll be like a quality video. I don't want to just, it's times where, yeah, I could just come on here and talk, but if I'm gonna do something, man, I'm gonna make sure it's like, give myself some time and research and make sure everything is laid out properly, because sir, if you notice, like, it's certain videos that I do, like the video I did on black slave owners in America. It was some prep work that was done in that. Not as much as I wanted it to be, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, certain videos I do, you could tell that I'm coming at it like I'm a professional narrator. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really trying to present an actual, kind of dialogue of some type of body of work or some type of, you know um history or something like that, and yeah, and I think that's why people just kind of they don't know where I'm going. I'm like all over the place, but yeah, it's the thing is that you just stand on your backbone, you know stand on your square, and everybody respects a person that stands on a square. You know, you stand on your square, and you be respected. It's a difference between being respected and disrespected. A lot of people put themselves they're vulnerable for disrespect because they outside their lane. My mother, when I first started driving, I started driving at 14. My mom used to grab the wheel and she would say, "Stay in your lane." I mean, yeah, my mother teaching me how to drive. Obviously, my dad should have taught me how to drive. But yeah, we do live in a matriarch. You I mean, I mean, I think it's a matriarch even outside of the black community, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, just think about it, right? My mother taught me how to drive, right? In Saudi Arabia, the women just started driving like 3 or 4 years ago. They couldn't drive. They had to protest and shit to be able to drive a car. It's further evidence that this is a matriarch. He said Ike does case closed with Dr. Thunder is apparently a Nigerian prince. Okay. Yeah. I know that. Um I call Ike the rich genius. That's my name for Ike. Ike actually was the dude that because I didn't know who Kevin Samuels was shouting out. And like yeah, like that's why I think he used to say King Ike. Like, yeah, that's who he's talking about. And Kevin Samuels in all of his pinnacle of glory, man, he was shouting out Ike, man. I guess Ike was supporting him and shit, sending him super chats too, though. But I didn't know who the fuck he was. Like, I ain't know who he was until like I guess he started putting up channels. I mean, putting up videos. I don't know. I didn't know who he was until like a much after. But yeah, that dude on he everything what I'm saying he's actually doing. He actually is doing like, and he's a albino, and he's doing everything I'm talking about. I mean, they don't probably like to be called that, but yeah, he's doing everything that I'm talking about. He's already doing it. He builds like engineering equipment or something in Africa, does engineering projects or whatever, I think, in Africa. So I mean, yeah, he's on some next level shit. Like he's advanced. He's like playing an advanced. He's doing advanced stuff of what I'm already talking about. I'm talking about like go get some fucking chocolate cocoa beans and put them in the ground and make some cocoa and just figure out a way to ship it back to America and make chocolate. Make chocolate bars grassroots, start a grassroots chocolate bar business. He over there digging fucking, uh whales and shit, building infrastructure and shit. I'm talking on some like start a coffee business, grow some coffee trees or plants or whatever, and make a coffee business. That's very basic. It's like people go over there and it's basic. It's basic shit though, but it's effective. They start a chicken, basically a farm. They start a farm and they just grow chickens. Growing chickens is not complicated, but you do need to know how to do certain things. I mean, the locals, they already pretty much know how to grow chickens, so or manage a chicken farm or whatever, or manage chickens. So you just get them to do it, pay them, and then they have a process, and or you develop some type of process to make it effective and all that. And you just got your little farm. Like it's not easy, but you pay the people, they'll manage it and everything. And, there you go. That's not difficult to do. Get a plot of land, get some animals, get you some chickens, some ducks, some turkey, some maybe if you're really into it, grow some fruit trees, some get maybe start some hydroponics, get some tilapia, and then you just take it to the local market and you sell it. There you go. Make the money, then put it in the bank, and then transfer some of the money to American currency. There you go. Be, basic business. Now, like I say, what Ike is doing, next level shit. way advanced in what I'm talking about. Because it's like, yeah, black people can't even get on a plane and go to Africa, let alone do anything about planting some cocoa trees, planting some coffee beans and shit. Like, no, like, I mean, I'm trying to, I'm reaching it. I have a different crowd, I guess. I mean, at least I think so. Maybe not, but I mean, even myself, I'm not on no Ike shit. Like I believe I can, I mean, but I'm not even on that. Like I'm on some, basic shit though. I'm be honest. Even me myself, I'm on some basic shit. Like I'll go over there, you know, I'll sell computers and shit. Like that's basic. Like if I go over there and build computers, then I'll be on some Ike shit. I can, but then I need a whole bunch of money to be building computers in Africa and shit. But building computers in Ghana, like starting a branch of computers, But I'm working on it. I promise you I am. I got a patent pending now, or application is going, it might be the case, I might do something with that, might figure out, okay, what can they help me out with as far as things in Africa, in my father's country, my country, what can I do in Ghana to, maybe it's, I can help, have them, make the cases or something, whatever it could be, But it's like, yeah, man, I have the potential to be on some advanced stuff too, man. But right now, I mean, you got to go basic first, then advance. Trying to go advance. I mean, he's from there. He's grew up. He lived there. The landscape. Uh, he's advanced. I mean, you gotta understand. Like, I mean, I'm not like that advanced. Like I do believe I am actually a genius, but I mean, I'm not Ivy League educated, or I didn't go to MIT. It's different levels of this shit. I'm not. I understand that. Some people act like everybody's on the same level. Nah, hell no. No, it isn't. It's some motherfuckers that are absolute fucking on some like high level shit. Theo Waff, you know, fucking high level advanced. Like he went to University of Illinois. I went to the junior college that was down the street from University of Illinois. Okay, it's differences. I'm not saying. I'm just saying what I'm saying. I'm just saying the obvious fucking thing. So a lot of people don't want to, admit that, it's levels to this shit, but it is, you know, it's absolutely levels to this shit. And I mean, people got flaws. I mean, obviously, people got flaws. I mean, I might not have the flaws that, people have. I mean, I'm not, what I'm saying? Like, it's certain flaws people have, you know, I've been a simp before, but I don't know if I've done some fucked up shit that probably I probably did worse. So I'm not gonna judge. I really can't judge. If even if a chick made me homeless, like I mean, yeah, I got fucked up, over some broads, man, before. So I can't I can't say that I'm better or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I ain't really had no money, you know what I'm saying, like that. I was kind of broke, man. I don't know if I had a whole bunch of money, like I don't know. I guess I'll be a different type of simp. Back then. I don't know, but yeah, man, it's differences, but yeah, it's next level shit, man. Some people that's fucking, you know, they doing some next level shit, man. You know, I mean, me, I'm doing next level shit with the little shit I got. Like I'm fucking building, rehabbing houses and shit. You know, I mean that's I ain't, that's definitely not that many people, man, rehabbing. Like if you going, if you want to look at things, like it's not that many people rehabbing houses, bro. It's not like, you know, expensive as houses are, and people don't invest. People don't obviously don't have businesses like that are competitive. So yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of people rehabbing houses, man, are in real estate like that. Like it's just not, so you know, even me being on the grassroots level, like it's not people even on the grassroots level. They not on any level. Like they just, they not into that, whatever. Some people just not comfortable with investing. I just, for whatever reason, it just, it's just not into it. They don't have the cojones to put the money up. It's like, it kind of goes back to what I said before. It's like, one of the things that I learned the hard way was that you can't go into business or even investing. You can't invest with others that have never invested. Learned that from a college friend that I had, before I went to Parkland, down in Champaign, Urbana, near the University of Illinois. I went to another college, South Suburban College. I met a guy that I, still know to this day, and he ain't never been in no business like that. Like he ain't never invested, and it's like we took, just a handshake. Okay, yeah, we'll invest in his house. Started cool the first month. I mean, the red flags was there. Like the first red flag was, I didn't get all of the money up front. Like I was supposed to put 3,000 down on the house. I had to put the whole three up. He came and gave me the 1,500 later, go because we was going half. And it's like that, the red flag was right there. And it's like, okay. And then it just became a pattern, coming up short. And yeah, it was a big fallout, man. It was cussing, and yeah, it was still to this day, man. This shit, we ain't cool like that. Like before that, how before my house that I got, like we was supposed to be, fully invested. When he wasn't coming up with the money, he just, had all kind of excuses and shit, wasn't responsive. It was like, man, I was like, I learned my lesson. You can't go into business with people that don't know business. That's common sense. Can't invest with people that never invested. Doesn't make sense. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. It just is what it is. They don't know what you know. I know how to invest. I know how to be patient and put money up, and even continue to put up money no matter what the fuck is going on, no matter how hard it is. I know when to give up. I mean, I know, okay, all right, you need to settle your losses, and move on, and just, try something else, another place, another time. I know how to do that. But the thing is that I know how to, from start to finish, or even start, you know, do what I have to do to, try to make some money, try to turn a dollar into two. Other people they don't know how to do that. They don't have the patience, they don't have the stick wittedness. You learn that in business. You learn, small businesses, you starting off small and you continuing to grind it out and work your way up, and then you supposed to like work all the way up to like you got this big ass business, like you got Apple, you got, whatever, company that's big and it becomes a household name. That's actually how, if you really keep going, like that's how that shit goes. It goes into this big, huge, like you got your own country. Like Apple has its own city. You know what I'm saying? That's how big Apple is. It started off in a garage. Steve Jobs and I think it's Steve Wozniak. I think his name is Steve too, or yeah. But um basically they started off in the garage. I think even Google started off in the garage too. So it's like, yeah, like it's that's the like pinnacle, like that's like the dream or the motivation, like to do that. But yeah, you got to start off small first. Usually, all of like I said, they start off in the garage. I started off in my computer business started off in my grandmother's basement. Grandparents' basement, and it morphed into flea market, then retail brick and mortar store from a fucking from my grandparents' basement. You know, south side of Chicago basement. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Nino? What's up, bro? What's going on with you, man? How's the bay or the yay? Yeah, man, that's how that goes, man. Like if you can get it to that point, most businesses only last less than 3 years. Okay, that's the you know true numbers as far as things. As far as like once you get big or whatever, most like small businesses only last about 3 years. Usually it's something to do with money, but it could be all kind of other things. But that's the timeline. That's like, the usual timeline for business, about 3 years, give or take. But, like I say, I mean, those are the two biggest things, man. Like why the black community is so messed up, we actually need to be tethered. We all need to be tethers. And we need to tether to, our country of origin, which is, I hate to say it, Africa. Yeah. And yeah, we need to be more business focused. I think if we become more business focused, I mean, black people are really tapping into being to investing. I do see that. I see that online. I see a lot of people, into forex and crypto and stocks and stuff like that, options. So I do see that, and that's easier. It's easy to get in investing. Is it? You can, once you become a big investor, if you become a big enough investor, that could be your business. You could be, that's your main job as an investor. You could start all kind of stuff, but yeah, it's definitely more of that needed to supply jobs. We don't, that's the thing. That's why the hood the way it is. That's why all these people out here in this underworld trying to survive, because they can't work anywhere else. They can't get jobs, because you got to understand, it's very simple. Okay, you could get it, like, it's one thing to get a job, from non-blacks and depend on that, which most black people do. But what if they don't give you no job? Yeah, like it's not like they all give you jobs. What if you can't get? What if you got a felony or you got no experience or whatever the case may be, or you live in an area where there is no jobs. The jobs are you get on a bus and drive out of your city to somewhere else. Like, yeah, I mean, what do you do in that situation? Like, how do you survive in that situation where you can't get hired? You some people say the zip code where you live, there's certain zip codes where the employer automatically knows you live in that zip code and they don't hire you. How they legally able to do that, whatever, they able to do it or whatever, you know. I mean, you what do you do in that scenario? What you got to do is you got to fucking sell drugs. That's what a lot of people do. And unfortunately, they don't know how to make it. They don't know how to survive. Like, one of the things about me is I do know how to make it. I know how to quote unquote hustle. I don't have to go sell drugs. You could, I know what options are there. I mean, most people know, okay, yeah, you could go be a truck driver. Yeah, you could go be a truck driver. Some people don't want to do that, but you might have to. I'm a hustler. I did at one time. I was like, you know what? It's time. It's time to go be a trucker. Cause it was like, man, I was just couldn't get no IT job. I was just like, well, I need to make some money. And then I went to go try to be a truck driver. And I couldn't park that car, the truck. And that was it. Like, I was like, oh, okay, well, then I think like a few months later, I got a job or whatever. Okay. You know, after my business, closed down, I needed a job and shit like that. It's like 2012. It was job market was shit, coming out of the Great Depression or recession of 2008, whatever you want to call it. I don't. I think it was a depression. I really do. I don't think that was no goddamn recession. That shit was rough, man. I don't think the young people, man, they probably was too young to feel it, or maybe I don't know, but that was rough. That was a rough experience. A lot of people, you going to apply for a job and it's 100 applicants for 2 jobs. That was crazy. It was a crazy time in history. But the thing is that's bound to repeat. What I'm saying? That's one of the reasons why, like, again, I started to take a journey on financial understanding, like, how this economy works, why did that actually happen, what it you got a lot of people that got rich around that time, and that's why, I started to, try to really figure this thing out, really figure out everything I possibly could on the economy and what happened historically and why it happened, and you know uh different aspects when it comes to inflation, deflation, stagflation, all of these things, all these terms. I just took myself on a journey because I said to myself, if this ever happens again, I want to be able to not be on the losing end of it. I don't want to, ever be blindsided by this again. And it's just that was why I did what I did, because I just, you know, I want to figure out this, how this financial system really works. And I was able to, kind of tap into that. It's a lot to learn, but I know a good chunk of it to, basically swing with the best of them. So yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a thing, man. It's like you kind of have to look at it like I say, what's the difference between this group and that group? Well, obviously these groups are tethered to their own country of origin. You know, you look at black people, you know, some of us dancing around, you know, like, you know, doing dances and shit. Like that's where our origin was. Like as if the slave ships never, you know, they never arrived on the, you know, coast of America from Virginia to South Carolina, you know, the Carolinas or whatever, you know, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas. Like they just never arrived there. You know, the Caribbean, there wasn't no slave ships there. You know, it's like all of this shit never happened. We were just here, just hobgobbling around campfires with Indians and, you know, Mohawks and shit, and um, motherfucking feathers in our heads. And it's like, yeah, that's that. You know, you don't want to you don't want to have to deal with reality. That's what that is. That's an escape from reality. And I get it, but you know, that doesn't help, you know, because you also, one of the things that you notice, right, is that when you see those people that talk that shit, that, you know, that stuff, that delusional pretending we were always here. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was black people in North America before the Vikings, before the, you know, European settlers. Yeah, but it's not like everybody was like here and there was no slavery and slave ships. There was no tribal wars in Africa, or, you know, there was no Inquisition in you know, Spain, and that didn't happen and all that. You know, it's like they act like that didn't exist, and it's like that's where it's like, yeah, like they try to tether themselves to that as like some type of delusionary reality, and erase the actual reality of them having, you know, um ancestors that did have to deal with the bondage and trials and tribulations of the transatlantic slave trade. And that's where the, you know, reality and stuff, you know, gets questioned. And one of the things that you notice with people like that is that what? They're broke. You know, they're not doing well financially. And you know, I'm not saying it is a barometer. Financial financial well-being is a barometer to a certain extent, as far as like, is what your people on and what you thinking, is it quote unquote superior or not? If it's superior, then you ain't on no hippie shit and dancing around looking crazy. You making money, you're financially successful. It does, you know, it is a difference. And I, you know, I know the, you know, I'm not liked every episode, every live stream, you know, I say some shit to not be liked. And I, you know, unfortunately I have to tell it like it is, you know. um you know, I just have to tell it like it is. I mean, it's just, I have to break the chains of delusion, unfortunately. And it's like, yeah, that obviously delusionary mindset is not helping you in life really well. You know, it's really, it has you in a state where you walking around looking like a crazy person with feathers on your head. and, and it's like, yeah, I mean, that's how, exactly how that looks is how you're productive in life, unfortunately. And it's like, yeah, I have to be the one that points that out. It's obvious, you know. I don't need to be a genius to point that out. But, you know, the thing is yeah, I mean, it's, you know, unfortunately, I've said this times and times again, and I've said it in many different vantage points, and it's just, yes, that go back to Africa talk. The tether babble, and everybody else is tethered, so, and the word is and as far as what it means in the English dictionary, and yeah, we're the only ones that aren't. There you go. you know tell your grateful leader that, you know um I'm not the type of person I'm not going to no live stream to clout chase. I'm not going, like, I said what I said. I think dude is, a hustler, grifter. Every 4 or 5 years he comes up with a new hustle. The latest hustle is, cloning, um basically someone else's movement, Yvette Carnell, Tone Talks movement, spin it into some type of negative, propaganda group that soaks the seeds of division amongst two groups that already had, already contention, Africans and African Americans. And it's like, yeah, man. I mean, that's what that culminated into, with little, like, some talk about reparations. And it's like, no, it's not effective. I think Tone Talks and Yvette Carnell's movement was more effective than that, because one of the things that I liked about Tone Talks was he set the record straight as far as the wealth statistics, and different statistics as far as, he kind of in a more, deeper, representation, or presentation, as far as the wealth statistics about, what Black people think that they are versus what reality is. It's like, I mean, I kind of do similar things, but I mean, I'll be all over the place. But the thing is that, yeah, like, he goes into the actual money, he goes into the wealth. Tariq is talking about where you from, where your people from, and shit like that. That's that broke hood, I grew up in the hood type bullshit that's not really dealing with the problem. The problem is not where your people from. Unfortunately, you know obviously that's retarded. Like, where your people from does not dissolve. It does not dissolve the problems of the Black community in America. Where your people from? If it was that goddamn simple, you know what I'm saying, I would ask where your people from. You know, Unfortunately, that does not solve the problems in
You
America.
say it take a village to raise a child, but what if the village is retarded?
Where your people from does not solve the solutions of you going to Muhammad and Ali and, Jabril, and asking for White Owls, Swisher Sweets, and Backwoods, and 10 on pump 5. And you don't go to, and it ain't no Black gas stations, you know, and where they got wraps and blunts and all of that shit. Does Where your people from doesn't resolve that problem. You know what I'm saying? Just very basic level logic. Like, that does not solve your problem. Like, one group, guys talking about tangible solutions, problems we need to lobby to get reparations, talking about wealth statistics, actual money problems in the Black community. Other person is talking about tether, where your people from. Very, very obvious. You don't need to be a rocket science. I'll give it. He's entertaining, good jokes, very good at catting or shooting the dozens, highly entertaining. you want black people really love to be entertained. I understand that. Like shout matches, arguing, entertainment, right? And it's like, unfortunately, that does not help starting viable companies, businesses, investment groups, companies, uh, in getting capital to have thriving businesses to hire your people so they don't have to be in the hood trying to survive, you know, selling rocks and blows. That doesn't help, and knowing the reality probably would help versus where your people from. And it's like, yeah, man, some of these people, man, if you probably researched their origin story, they was probably on a short bus. Somewhere along they was on a short bus, or they, dropped out of high school and they had to survive. And part of that surviving is they needed to, basically be an entertainer. Fortunately for me, I don't have to be an entertainer like to survive. Like, I don't need to do that. I went to college. I joined the military. I've done a lot of different things, and I know how to make it without having to do a GoFundMe and basically depend on supporters. I don't have any supporters, you know, um, other than, I got family. I support them, they support me, but it's like I don't have a bunch of subscribers and supporters. You know, I don't really put, I don't really even, I rarely ask for cash apps. I don't even get any cash apps, so I stopped asking, to be honest. Like 100% honest, I stopped asking because I don't even get anything. So I just like, you know what? I mean, I'm not, I'm just not going to even ask. I obviously have my cash app right there, my background, but I don't get any cash app, so I just be like, you know what? I mean, I know I've offended probably 99% of the people that listen to me. So I mean, I'm an asshole. I will admit I am an asshole. I don't go out my way to be an asshole, but I am an asshole, and I know I'm an asshole. I am aware of that. And yeah, assholes are not really, well, I guess some assholes are liked. Charleston White, he's an asshole. He's a supreme asshole. Donald Trump definitely is an asshole. They both of those guys get, they get a lot of support. I guess it's an art to being an asshole. I haven't mastered it, I guess. But I just be telling the truth, man. It ain't it ain't really me being an asshole. People just don't like the truth. Like, I mean, I could be wrong, but I know I'm not. It just is what it is, man. You know, it's very simple. Like, when you really look at shit, it just is what it is. It's like a broad that's fine. A woman, if that's fine, she knows she's fine. She knows there are other women that are fine though, but yeah, she knows she's fine. Like, even women in other countries, they know they're fine. I mean, you can get them, because the reason why you can get them is because, like, basically you're from another country that's very rich and they know that. And yeah, you might look all right, or you might look, okay, or above very good, or whatever, depending on how you look. I mean, you can get them. Like, I mean, and here's the thing: like, women in this country, they don't really like that, because you kind of have to pay a premium in this country versus you go somewhere else. You don't really got to pay that much of nothing, and you can, yeah, it's, it's like, it's like, yeah, it's crazy, but it's like, yeah, you get women that look really, really well, really good, and you don't really have to spend that much, you know. And it's like, and I ain't even talking about like you ain't gotta buy no prostitute or nothing. You gotta stay there for a long time though. Like, not really. I mean, it depends on, you know, where you at and all of that stuff. But yeah, it's just, yeah, man. Women, you know, basically, yeah, they know they look good. Like they know that they can get most men. They can't get all men, but most men they can get, you know, a lot of men they could get. They know all of this shit. Like, you know, a lot of things are very, very obvious, you know. It's just some people just don't, people like to follow crowds and shit, you know, like to follow crowds. They like to follow other people, you know. Some people are very, very convincing, you know, very, very convincing. And, you know, people fall for it, you know, but, you know, I see the writing on the wall. I mean, you know, I think some of that stuff is entertaining. I ain't gonna lie. Some of that stuff, some of those conversations and arguments be, you know, entertaining. But, you know, it's like, to be honest, that type of content is not, and it's not like it's a content, it's content. It's a whole movement. It's it's like basically I see it as I'm not learning anything. One, okay. So that means I'm getting dumber. Two, I mean, I give it, it is entertaining to a certain extent, but I don't necessarily got to be entertained listening to that. I mean, it's kind of not worth it. I'm not learning anything. And then three is really, it really is nefarious because it's not like, you know, it's not like you're just entertaining people and, you know, it just kind of like you're not learning anything as well. You also are creating some type of cult following, and now you have people from different parts of the world not liking each other based off of you, just because you're broke one day and you had to come up with, you know, rent money in California and mortgages and shit like that, you know, for your family. It's like, damn, you know, you creating a whole, you know, a big monstrosity here, where you're, you know, influencing people, creating, you know, wider divisions. And then these same people got to go to work, you know, they got to go, you know, they're going to buy blunts from, you know, Muhammad and them. You know, they're not forming businesses because you're not talking about none of that. You know, I go, at least if I listen to Tone Talks in them, right? I'm learning something. I'm you know, learning something that I didn't know before. I'm, you know, it's talking about the, you know, economics, you know, stuff like that. I don't get that, you know, obviously from Tariq. It's like he's appealing to the, you know, kind of like people that are not really want to, I you know, I really don't never talk about IQ, but he's really like appealing to low IQ people, and I think that's what it is. Like he's really appealing to like people that are not that intelligent, and they go for that because they don't really got nothing else going on but identity politics and shit, you know. And it's like, yeah, man, I can't listen to that shit. I made it a like a kind of a method to not listen to shit like that. If it ain't about money and it ain't about anything productive or like really, you know, I don't know, dynamic, I'm not even, I can't really, I can't focus in on it. It's just, I just filter all of that shit out because I know it's not important. I seen too many ghettos. I'm in one now. quote unquote, you know. And it's like, man, I mean, it's if it's not about economic improvement, you know, you can go fuck yourself. And to be honest, I mean, like, as far as how I look at it, because it's like that's one of the number one problems that I'm, you know, trying to deal with. You know, and it's like, yeah, all the other shit is just noise. You know, I mean, to be honest, okay, if the a lot of the reasons why I'm not saying like you know, money is a end all be all. It's not a like a master key. Money, wealth, and riches is not a master key. You know, obviously, because you know we know as black people that have money that's fucked up as hell. You know, i.e., baby oil, Diddy, you know, et cetera, et cetera. It's black people that's fucked up as hell. You know, it got money. You know, money is not gonna. I'm not saying money gonna solve everything, but it's one thing to say that, and then it's also you got all of these ghettos, right? And it's like, yeah, that's a problem as well, because it's like you got people like Diddy in the hood. You got Diddies in the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? You got rich Diddies, broke Diddies in the ghetto. I mean, you know, it's not. I'm not saying money gonna solve all the problems, but I'd rather be having problems and have a whole bunch of money than have problems and have no money. You know, I mean, that's just pretty much just how I look at it, and that's you know, I'll just leave you know things with that, you know, and you know, y'all enjoy y'all Sunday, and you know, enjoy the football games. You know, hopefully, you know, your team wins or you made a little money or whatever. You know,